As an utterly reckless attack on the protocol and an attack on every person living on the island of Ireland, as well as an attack on the Good Friday Agreement. The campaign group says recent data shows that the protocol has positively improved the economy, with a 61% increase in trade between North and South. They're calling on the EU and the United States, in the event Article 16 is invoked, to take a firm and solid stance against the British government. A West Donegal councillor believes cameras are needed to tackle illegal dumping in the area. In recent days, household items, including a hoover, have been dumped between Falcarra and Dunfanaghy. Councillor Michael McLafferty has appealed once again to those responsible to properly dispose of waste. He says there's no other option but to install cameras in illegal dumping hotspots.
Cameras is going to have to be a thing. Hidden cameras is going to have to be a thing that Donegal County Council's going to have to push for in all areas. Discreet cameras, let them be wherever, and just try and catch these people in the act and bring them to the task, because unless that happens, we're just going to have numerous more days like this. Myself, other councillors, other people of the public raising this, talking about it, and it's just, the whole thing's going to get out of hand once again.
Deputy Michael Healy-Rae says the delay in rolling out broadband is extremely worrying to rural Ireland. Fewer than 3,000 homes and businesses have been connected to high-speed broadband under the National Broadband Plan. The target is to reach 115,000 premises by the end of January next year, but by then the figure is only expected to be 60,000. In Donegal, some homes will not be connected to high-speed broadband until at least 2026, while it's projected that just 21% of the remaining 32,000 properties in the county without access to fibre broadband will be connected by March 2023. And finally, for weather, a wet start in many parts this morning with outbreaks of rain. Patchy rain or drizzle will be mixed with some drier intervals later this morning and afternoon, with highest temperatures of 13 or 14 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock.
If you are aged 70 or over, you will soon be offered a COVID-19 vaccine booster dose. This is because cases are starting to increase in this age group. Your booster dose will give you the best possible protection against serious illness from COVID-19. You should get it around 6 months after your last COVID-19 vaccine. Your GP will contact you when it's time for your vaccine. For more information, visit hse.ie or call HSE Live on 1800 700 700. From the HSE.
Are your tyres ready for winter? Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest. The 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
And a very good morning to you. It's just turning 4 minutes past 9. You're very welcome along to the 9 till Noon Show here in Highland Radio. On this, what is November the 8th. It's a Monday, of course, and we've a busy show lined up for you. Lots coming up on the programme. We want your views, what you've got to say, and what we've got arranged, but also for you to raise your issues too. Get involved with us. 086 60 25,000. That's your text. That's your WhatsApp number. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. 07491 25,000. Caroline taking your calls today, of course. Now, emails come into us via comments at highlandradio.com. And a very good morning and welcome. If you are joining us to watch the programme across our social media, feel free to say hello and comment there as well. Tell us where you're watching from. On Facebook, it's /Highland Hub or Highland Radio News and Sport. And on YouTube, it's Highland Radio Ireland. And give us a like or a subscribe and hit the bell and you can be notified when we go live across Highland Radio here. Right, OK, on to the newspapers this morning. Let's start with the Donegal People's Press, and it's a great picture on the front of that paper. Niall O'Donnell with a beaming smile as he lifts the cup. St Eunan's captain Niall O'Donnell celebrates after leading his side to victory in the County Senior Club Football Championship against Niamh Conaill at McCool Park in Ballybuffet yesterday. St Eunan's overcome their rivals with relative ease, running out 111 to 4-point winners. The match was preceded by a minute's silence in memory of the late Martin Griffin. And it wasn't much of a spectacle anyway as a neutral. I don't hope I'm not offending anyone. It was a tough enough I'll watch. Quite pedestrian at times, very passionate, very technical, but not the best spectacle I've ever seen in my life, but still, it was a good game to watch. And St Eunan's, what a couple of weeks they've had. 4 titles lifted now between the women, the hurlers and the footballers. It really is quite a remarkable story, that, isn't it? We'll be touching on that, of course, as you can imagine, later on in the programme. Have your views on it, 086 60 25,000. Finn Harps have contacted eBay about poppy badges being sold bearing the club's crest. The pins, which show the Finn Harps logo alongside a poppy and accompanied by the words "Lest we forget," were listed at $11.99. According to the seller, a percentage of the money raised goes to the Poppy Appeal, but the British Legion, which organises the annual fundraising drive, has confirmed to the Donegal News that the items are in no way linked to them. All right, the Derry News this morning. A Derry cancer sufferer who was recently diagnosed with bowel cancer said he has nothing but praise for his treatment from the NHS. Anthony Murray was urged by loved ones to get checked, and the results confirmed the devastating news. The 56-year-old, who has resided in Derry for 29 years, has been diagnosed with stage 3 bowel cancer and wants to thank the NH staff for all their support so far and urges the public to get symptoms seen to. On to the nationals now, and the Irish Times tells us that the contract of hundreds of contact tracers who track COVID-19 infections are being extended to next April in a sign of the increasing unpredictability of the coronavirus pandemic's trajectory. The resurgence of COVID-19, with cases rising above 3,000 new infections a day in a fourth wave, has forced the HSE to reverse direction just 6 weeks after the National Public Health Emergency Team was considering proposals to wind down routine contact tracing from the end of October. Private recruitment business CPO, which the Health Service Executive uses to employ contact tracers, told the COVID-19 tracing teams they will be required for another 6 months after an extremely busy 6 weeks period of significant and sustained increases in case numbers. On to the Irish Independent now, and what do you think about this story of Eamon Ryan? Now, let's say it was one of us, okay? You are a close contact, or for whatever reason you're asked to go and get a test, right? And you do, and it comes back positive. That's it, isn't it? Have you ever been contacted by the HSE to say, hold on a second now, we wouldn't mind running another PCR test on you here, we're not happy with the result of that one? Or do you end up restricting your movements for a long period of time? I think the answer is the second one, isn't it? But apparently the HSE spotted something. They thought, hold on, we need to get you back in here, because of course you had the COP26 to attend, and they run another test and it was negative, and that's, lo and behold, away he goes, which is now that's one side of it. Now the second side of it is he is a minister. One of the COP26 is a huge event which it's taking place in Glasgow. He is the Minister for the Environment, so it's fitting that he should be there. So perhaps it's good that he gets special treatment. Is it that that the HSE say, hold on, we'll run this again, see what the story is, maybe it's negative? But what do you think? Is it one rule for them and one for another? Or do you think it's right that because it's such an important event, if there were any question marks at all, run it again? What do you think? Anyway, we'll read what the Irish Independent has written on this story. Eamon Ryan's going to the COP26 climate change summit in Glasgow today. After all, a second COVID-19 test showed negative, apparently undoing the result of a previous positive test, which had initially prompted him to cancel his trip. A spokesperson for the Environment Minister and Green Party leader has defended the handling of the case and insisted Mr Ryan acted at all times on the basis of the professional advice he was given. After the initial tests, Mr Ryan also followed all HSE protocols for people who test positive for COVID-19, including self-isolation and informing all his close contacts. Mr Ryan's first test, taken last Friday, was done at the behest of the COP26 organisers and had a positive result. But the National Ambulance Service, which does tests for government ministers and officials in cases where they are required for official business, administered a second test, which yesterday was revealed to be negative. The HSE said second tests are sometimes administered where a result is deemed ambiguous. It's understood the case for carrying out a second test was added to by Mr Ryan, showing no symptoms. So have you ever, anyone out there at all, had to get a test, asymptomatic, and it was positive, and then the HSE, or negative, and the HSE come back to you and say, hold on, yeah, sorry if I keep saying hold on, I don't know why I keep saying that, but they've come back to you and said the result was ambiguous. We need to do you again. Has that happened to any regular person out there? Let us know if it has. Perhaps it has. 086 60 20 5000. Or as I say, and it's perfectly valid, maybe it's because of his important role in the important event, maybe it's right that he gets special attention. All right, on to the Irish Daily Mail today. The government's banking on vaccine boosters and antigen tests to turn the COVID tide and save Christmas. Pressure's now growing on NIAC, the National Immunisation Advisory Committee, to move more swiftly when it comes to the rollout of booster jabs. Although they can only go so quick because, I mean, you have to be 6 months on from your last jab. So no matter how quick they go, you can only go as quick as the rules, can't you? The political mood was captured by influential Fianna Fáil Minister Niall Collins, who told the Irish Daily Mail, "We need to act decisively and simply roll out the booster. The infrastructure and the personnel are there." But if you're a frontline member of staff, right, to go to, or working in a pharmacy or GPs or wherever you might be, and they're administering this booster vaccine in these mass vaccination centres, is that not hard to get to? Do you have to take time off work to go and get a jab to ensure that you don't take time off work? Maybe I'm seeing something that isn't there, but it doesn't seem the best way of doing it, expecting staff to travel to this central location. The Irish Daily Star tells us that a British man based in Ireland appeared before a special sitting of court charged over an alleged threat to kill a female Labour MP in the UK. Daniel Weavers, with an address in Douglas on the south side of Cork City, appeared yesterday before Cork District Court. Mr. Weavers was charged with sending a message by phone to the MP that was menacing. It allegedly came from his home address in Douglas in Cork on October 18th last year. Right, so the hand of the law in the UK can reach quite far, can't it? Staying with people saying things that could get them into bother, The Sun tells us that the North's health minister is suing Van Morrison after the singer branded him very dangerous over his handling of COVID-19 restrictions. The action focuses on an incident at Belfast's Europa Hotel in the summer. Van, a vocal critic of lockdown, took to the stage during an event and criticised Robert Swan. The defamation proceedings also cite two subsequent instances when the singer elaborated on his views on Swan. The first relates to comments concerning Swan made by Morrison to a reporter the day after the incident at the Europa. The second relates to content the songwriter uploaded on YouTube in which he addressed the Europa Hotel controversy. Now, that's going to be a problem for Van Morrison, I'd imagine, because it's the same courts dealing with, is it not, that case involving Stephen Nolan, and they found quite heavily against the person against which he took the case, and I just wonder if Van might have to end up digging deep into his pockets there. The Irish Daily Mirror, finally, Britain could be on the verge of triggering Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol, which might lead to a hard border on this island. Simon Coveney warned yesterday. The Foreign Minister said if the UK takes this drastic measure, it might result in a trade war with Ireland and the EU. Mr Coveney said Ireland needs to prepare contingency plans and will not be surprised now if this happens after the COP26 summit finishes at the end of this week. So we're going to try and bring you information on that. You know, what does it actually mean? What could it mean? Because, of course, we know the headlines, don't we? Trade war, potential for a hard border. You'd imagine, though, they'd go through every hoop in the book to avoid the hard border element of things. But what we're going to try and do is get some experts on a little later on in the programme to discuss that reality of what could happen in the event, well, it seems inevitable now, that Britain triggers that article.
Get your tyres winter ready. Drop into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
The newspapers are courtesy of Kelly Centra, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
Buy a ticket in Highland Radio's mega draw to win a car. Get your ticket by November 30th and automatically enter an extra draw before the big draw. One lucky winner will walk away with €2,000. Imagine, that's Christmas all wrapped up. Christmas sorted. The draw will take place on Wednesday, December 1st on the 9 till noon show. 9 till noon. And you're still in with a chance to win the Kia Exceed worth over €28,000. 28 grand.
It's that simple to win that car.
To get your ticket, log on to highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, exceeding your expectations.
Ooh.
For great fuel deals, contact Gortley Sales and Hire. Large sacks and trailer loads of logs. Also briquettes, coal, kindling and gas with free delivery locally. Contact Gortley Sales and Hire in Letterkenny on 9126276.
It's November Madness at Crawford Tiles and More Castlefin for 1 week only. There's 20% off all tiles in stock, 10% off all bathware, and 5% off carpet and vinyls. Fitters and delivery service available. That's Crawford's Mad Giveaway Sale for 1 week only. Ends Wednesday the 10th of November. Call 9143942.
Is your water safe to drink? If your water tastes unpleasant or has a foul smell, it may be a sign that something is in your water. Brothers Tech Donegal provide a complete private well water treatment service using the best water treatment equipment to meet your needs. Or maybe you drilled a new well and the water isn't satisfactory. At Brothers Tech, their expert team will also service existing problematic systems. If you're concerned about the quality of your water, call Brothers Tech on 087 638 7057.
Did you know the Personal Injuries Assessment Board is Ireland's state body for assessing personal injury claims? We are fair and independent and use the exact same guidelines as the courts to calculate compensation, but our process is nearly 2 years faster on average. Our costs are low too, an average of 20 times lower than the cost of litigation. The Personal Injuries Assessment Board. Similar compensation, faster resolution, fairer for all. Visit piab.ie. for more information.
At Letterkenny Shopping Centre, we're already dreaming about the festive season, so why not make a start? Park for free and enjoy your Christmas shopping this year. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
You're very welcome back to the programme at 17 minutes past 9. We're joined on it now by Ray Dougherty. Good morning to you, Ray.
Morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. Thank you for joining us, and thanks for working with us and helping us to keep the Mica issue on the agenda in all of its forms. Now, how long has it been clear to you that your house is infected with these blocks?
Well, you kind of knew from after the big freeze in 2010, 2011, the house started deteriorating rapidly, like spider cracks going everywhere. But we were like everybody else. We were oblivious to what the real problem was. And as it progressed and houses started to deteriorate, people started talking about Mica, and then it became a reality that we had Mica. And only for the Mica scheme, the people that got that up and going and fought to where they fought to, it wouldn't have been highlighted at all. And once we got the test done then last June, we got our test done, and it came back positive. We Mica inside and out, and on our foundations too. So they were giving us the option. They were trying to make us do an outer brick, and I wasn't happy with it at all, Greg. I turned around and my wife wasn't happy. And as it progressed and as you thought about it, you started noticing the cracks inside, and they started getting worse and worse, and then they've actually got that bad now that they're actually falling. They're coming off the wall. It's falling off the wall.
Can I ask you about the foundations? Because did you actually get the foundations tested? And how unusual? No. You didn't? No.
No, we didn't get. But the reason I'm saying to you about the foundation is my house has got porcelain tiles in the kitchen floor. And 2010, 2011, I was down. Me and my wife were down having breakfast during one of the big freezes. And I noticed, I started hearing this kind of popping noise. And I says, God, what? This was about 8 o'clock in the morning. And I said, what the hell's that? So I got up, and the tiles in the floor, where they're flat like that, started coming up like this.
Jeez.
Started coming up. So my tiles are all hollow now, right?
Yeah.
So I ended up, we didn't know about the Mica at this time. We didn't know it was Mica. So I got the insurance company in, Greg, and they came down and they looked at it. All my tiles, they're still down. The tiles are still down. They're all hollow. When you walk on them, they're all loose. And he came on and he looked at it and he turned around and he says, no, it's just faulty workmanship. So they didn't cover that anyway. And it was only over the years then where my skirting boards run with the tile like this, the house is starting to move the gap now towards the west.
Yeah.
Coming away from the skirting board. So it's actually your foundation's moving, it's shrinking, and the building's actually moving to the west.
So you're not even you're looking at a full demolition, but also obviously those fans have to be rooted out too.
Yeah, they would, for definite. I would anybody that's got Mica, go the whole way. I know it's going to be tough. I don't have the money, Greg. I'm like everybody else. But you're not safe living in a house like that. Like, I've basement slab, 2 upstairs, and I've 3 young children too. And it's tough.
Do you still use upstairs in that situation, or do you prefer upstairs? Or because, like, every time I have a conversation, Ray, about a spice and slab with people, especially in a situation like yours where the internal leaf is showing signs of deterioration, this weight, I mean, if you're talking about your house moving to the west, like, do you know, if you make, say, for instance, you make a house of cards, you know, when you put that card on top of the 2 cards and it moves to one side, and then there comes a point where surely the weight accelerates that. Do you know what I mean? Now, I'm a worrier, but I don't think I could sleep in that house.
I'd be like that, but my wife now, fair play to her, has got a very good look on it. She would turn around, like, I would stress and worry about it, but she would turn around and say, it's not the end of the world. Like, we've all got our health and we're all keeping well.
And she's right, but it's not easy to keep that mentality all the time, Ray.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Right, so listen, that's kind of the background, but reason really why we're talking today, Ray, though it's good to have the more broader conversations about insurance and insurance on properties. And what's the situation there with your family?
Right, Greg, I've been thinking this for a long time. I've been lying in bed at night and I was thinking it and I was asking the question, but nobody could really tell you the answer to it. So I took it upon myself to contact an insurance company back in October, the start of October, and I got onto them and I asked them, my house has been diagnosed with Mica. It has to be demolished. What way do I stand with my house policy? So the wee girl couldn't really answer the question. She says, look, I'm going to have to go upstairs with us. I'm going to have to go to hire people, and can I come back to you? And I says, that's no problem, but if you could try and do it with a kind of an urgency, because I want to know if I'm paying a policy and the policy is no good to me, how many people out there, Greg, with Mica are insurance companies actually taking the money from them and them knowing that these people probably do have Mica, and it's like a con. So anyway, the wee girl went away and she came back to me a couple of days later with an email saying that my house wasn't covered for Mica, and they might be able to cover me for the goods inside the house. So I went back there again then, and I said, so my house isn't covered now for the outer, for the building, if it went on fire, God forbid. And she says, no. And I said, so when can you tell me if you'll be covering me for...
the contents, they call it, isn't it?
Yeah, the content, that's right, the contents. And she came back then a couple of days later, and Friday they came back to me, or Thursday, and they says they don't know if they'll be able to cover me for the contents of the house neither. And I said, so what are you telling me? She says, I don't think they're going to cover you, but I'll come back to you again with an email and I'll send you a letter out. So I haven't got the letter yet, but she just basically says you're not going to be covered and that my policy was no good. So I said to her then, I said, right, I was diagnosed with Mica back in 2020.
Rebate.
Yeah, and I says, is there going to be a remittance for me paying that policy? She couldn't answer that either.
So in the event, God forbid, of a washing machine leaking and flooding the house, or God forbid, particularly a fire, and you had went to make a claim, is it the sense that you're getting that they would have said, well, your insurance is invalid?
Yeah, Greg, this is one of the key points, and this is why people with Mica out there are going to have to listen to this, because this is very, very dangerous for anybody living in it, right? Because they've got it on the policy, and the first thing, God forbid, if your house did go on fire or anything really bad did happen, they're going to come in and they're going to ask, do you have Mica? They're going to ask for the test. If you've got your house tested, you're going to be done then right away.
What's your premium? Around 300 or something like that, is it?
It'll be about 450 or something.
Right,
yeah.
So 450. Let's just work this out potentially. €450 by 6,000 seems to be the figure that's going around. We're talking about insurance companies then taking in annually from Mica-affected homeowners €2,700,000. If everyone say we put a 6,000 figure property on it and everyone's playing around about 450, 2.7 million, that until we get clarification, we can't be sure that that's actually money that will afford anyone to make a claim on for, and this is not about claiming for Mica. Anything that happens to the house, the flooding, a fire, anything like that might happen.
Yeah, 100%.
That's quite significant, isn't it?
Yeah, another thing, Greg, too, is we've been moved to demolition, right? I only found this out again the weekend, that we have to now appoint an architect to demolish our house. We have to pay for the replanning of your building. This is even if you're building the same house. You have to apply for the replanning of a house. You have to put on your advertisement, planning application into the paper. And there's another catch here, but to me, everywhere you turn, Greg, and this whole Mica scheme, it's just costing you money, and it's money people don't have. And I know, talking to people that have got nothing, and their hearts are just sunk, and it's like we're not even being helped at all.
See, this is the thing. If you have money, you don't realise what it's like to live. And I know all about this for a long time. That say something major happens, say your washing machine goes, or say the gearbox goes in the car, you know, that €300 or €400 type bill.
Yeah.
The money's not there for it, right? So, and you know, and then you've got the back to school, the huge cost of that. You've got Christmas and all of those type of things, and they're coming every month, it feels like, right? So, like, where would someone get the money to go through the planning process again, or to engage an architect again? They're sitting there going, I can't even do that. And yet, you know, it's painted as if this is all about people with mansions on the hill. You know, you've heard that old saying. It's just a complete misunderstanding of what the reality is to live squeezed, you know, with no extra money. Enough, maybe, most people hopefully have enough to tick along, but not enough to take on costs of €500 or €600, let alone 10, 20 or 30,000.
Exactly, Greg. We're living, everybody now, the way I see it now is people live week to week, month to month. There's nobody out there now that's got this money that they're throwing around and hasn't been able to do that. We turned around, Greg, and we bought our house we had a beautiful house and we sold it, right? And in 2008, we bought the house we bought then, was this house we've got now, was our dream home. And we thought we were in a pig's back, like. We put a lot of money into the house and we'd done it up. Me and my wife done it ourselves. And like, you look at it now and you go, you look at your children and you think, my God, it's tough.
Right, okay, it is, Ray, and I think hopefully it's a little bit better now that we're all talking about it, and there's a lot of people pulling in the one direction, and we still have to, hopefully, things like the fees that you're talking about, hopefully they'll be covered in this announcement that the government's going to make at some point in the not too distant future, but we've no guarantee on that. We don't know that at this point.
No, don't know it at all. You're kind of left in limbo.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
Greg, I've been banging on to TDs, right? I've been sending emails regularly. And out of the TDs I've sent, I'm not going to name them, right? But the TDs that I've sent the emails to, one TD came back to me out of it all. And one TD invited down to my house to come and see the destruction and the damage. That one TD came down, and I can name him if it's all right to name him.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
He's the only one that took it up and looked after it and came down, and it was Patrick Mcglynn and Pierce Dougherty. The two of them came back to me, and he came down without a second thought. And the other TDs didn't even bother acknowledging my emails or anything. And I think, the way I look at it, Craig, is we run our own business here in Mobile, right? We employ people. Our taxes are paying their wages. Them people that are running our country are employed by us, the people of this country, me and you, the taxpayer. And they think they can turn around and ignore you and not help you out, or they take ridiculous wages and then they can't even speak to you when you go to try and get it.
Yeah, it feels like insult to injury, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Right, what business is it, Ray?
Mobile Clothing Company.
Right, where can people get more information if they want to support your business? What's the website or Facebook?
On www.mobileclothing.com.
Okay, brilliant.
In the factory, like, and great, take us all over the world.
Good stuff. Continued success with that. That's not what you come on for, but it's so might as well get the plug in while we're here.
Greg, it's tough running a business too. You're paying a lot of money. You're paying a lot of money to these people.
I don't want to sort of frustrate you even further. But obviously, you know, you're paying your rates and your water rates, and they're going to the council. And well, I don't think I need to fill the gaps in for you there. Listen, Ray, when you get further contact back from the insurance company, you'll stay in touch with us. Let us know, will you?
No problem. I'll actually sent me here with the faulty workmanship, so they've got it all down here and what they don't cover, and it's in very, very small rate.
Yeah. Beyond me now at this stage, I would say. All right, listen, thanks, Ray. I appreciate your time this morning. That is Ray Dougherty there. He is concerned now that he's been paying insurance for a long time, but is the house covered? They're suggesting even the contents wouldn't be covered. Now, if he made a claim, would they sort of have invoked the small print in that? As I say, you know, I don't think I'm exaggerating until such time as we get clarity. Say 6,000 houses paying around about €450 each, maybe less, but maybe more. That's 2.7 million going to insurance companies. Do we have insurance cover for that 2.7 million? Have you had difficulties in making a claim that is not, you know, a claim that a problem has actually been caused by these blocks, but, you know, something else with the property? Was there any issues there? Did you have to declare to them that you had Mica, etc.? 086 60 25,000 WhatsApps and texts. Thanks again to Ray there, by the way. Great speaker, of course. And give us a call. Caroline, taking your calls, 07491 25,000.
Are your tyres ready for winter? Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Already thinking about your Christmas party? At Luca's Burger, Pasta and Pizza Restaurant in Letterkenny, we have the perfect party package for you. You'll enjoy an amazing choice of freshly cooked foods from our special Christmas menu. Let our family look after you this Christmas at Luca's. To book, call 074 911 3404.
Farmers know all about running a busy operation. They have their own instincts to help, of course, as well as centuries of experience handed down from one generation to the next. And then there's new ideas and innovations that are helping farmers work smarter today and safeguarding their farms for tomorrow. AXA Smart Farm Insurance is here to help too. In fact, it's the only policy where you can benefit from discounts of up to 30% if you have a low claims record. For a quote, search axa.ie/farm. AXA. Know you can. Terms and conditions apply. Claims free in your farm for the past 3 years. Windscreen claims are excluded. AXA Insurance DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
This is the new Toyota Yaris Cross. A new kind of SUV. A new point of view. New compact style. New spacious feel. And exclusively self-charging hybrid. The right choice for today. Get a new perspective with the Yaris Cross self-charging hybrid. Available now at Kelly's Toyota, Port Road, Letterkenny, or Drumby, Mount Charles. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota. Built for a better world.
Candles, lanterns, Christmas trees, decorations and all types of lights. Everything you need for Christmas. Experience the magic of Christmas at Cooney's. Our biggest and best Christmas shop has outstanding value on lights and trees. There really is something for everyone at Cooney's Letterkenny Retail Park.
Better value lives at Dunnes Stores with everything for your meals of the week like curries, tray bakes and stir fries. We've got Board Bia quality assured meats, including 302 gram fresh Irish chicken fillets and 215 gram fresh Irish sirloin steak, just €3 each. And to make it more nutritious and delicious, there's over 20 varieties of 49-cent fruit and veg. Plus, with our 10 off 50 grocery voucher, you save even more, which means every trip to Dunnes Stores means better value. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next grocery shop of €50 or more.
Now, students who participate in social, cultural or sporting activities while in school should be rewarded part of their Leaving Cert. That's according to a Fine Gael senator who believes students should be given bonus points of up to 15% for their extracurricular activities. The person behind those suggestions is Senator Joe O'Reilly, Lascahirloch of the Shannon. A very good morning to you, Senator. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Good morning to you, Greg. Lovely to join you in one of my favourite counties, Donegal.
Excellent. I'm not going to go easy on you now just because you said that, you know.
Okay,
I'm only
great.
joking, Joe.
No.
Come here. So, this seems like a good idea. What is your thinking behind it? Like, what not problem are we trying to resolve? But
yes,
why do you think we need it?
I think we need it to produce a more rounded individual going into the workplace, going into an apprenticeship, or going into academia. And I think no matter which way they go, this will help. It's a very simple idea, and often the simpler the idea, the more likely you can implement it and work it. And basically, it would give a total of 15%, 5% for social activity. That would be things like charity work, visiting institutions, visiting elderly, and at the moment, with the way things are now, it could also include the environmental work. And now, then 5% for cultural activity, and this would be the school musicals, school plays, murals on walls outside, a whole myriad of things, and 5% sporting, athletic participation in games and all. But across each of them, the really important point would be participation. The emphasis would be on participation rather than excellence, because we're not talking here of potential Olympians. We're talking of people who appreciate these things. And if a person goes in then, say they go to Letterkenny IT after doing this, they'll bring to Letterkenny IT, from the social, they'll bring empathy, concern for others, awareness of others. From the cultural, they'll bring intellectual curiosity and breadth of intellect and range. And from the sporting, they'll bring teamwork, camaraderie, discipline. And all of those will actually improve their academic performance.
Do you see, though, a gap in those qualities in our young people that you're trying to encourage or incentivize with these proposals? Like, is this about how you perceive our youth generally, socially, in the country, and you're using this initiative, this proposal, as a way to address that?
No, it's not so much that I have identified a specific deficit in our young people, but I see it in the converse way, in a positive way, that this will enhance our young people. In fact, I'm very impressed by our young people now personally, and I have 3 sons myself, but I'm also impressed by the young people I meet. So it's not so much that I've identified a deficit, quite truthfully. It's that I think this is a positive. This will complement, this will add to, this will make for bigger and better people, and people with a greater roundedness. And they'll bring much more to where they go in terms of their contribution, and they'll benefit much more from where they go. Because I think even if they go to read books, if you read a book with life experience like that, experience of sport, of culture, of social, you bring more to the reading of the book, you take more from the book. So I see this as right across the board. It will help people. It'll make them civic-minded. There's a whole way. And it's 15% for the marks. And bear in mind that the other 85%, from my perspective, would remain with the academia. Now, there are debates going on, as you know, at the moment about open book exams, et cetera, et cetera. We could go down those areas, but I'm specifically proposing this. And if we have time, I'd explain to you how it would work in practice.
Go ahead, Joe, now, yeah.
Yeah. Well, if I do, I would see 4 or 5 of senior teachers in a school, post holders who would be, by the way, bear in mind that a small cohort of the school is doing the Leaving Cert every year. So they would issue the marks in these 3 spheres. Now, teachers are very professional. After a while, it would settle down. You'd have the initial sort of teething pains and maybe suggestions, as you always do, of favoritism, but it would become the norm after a while. That wouldn't exist. Teachers are professional, and you always have an aberration everywhere, but in every profession, yours and mine and all of them. But that doesn't mean the bulk of people are not tops at what they do. And so the teachers would do it well. And you could have quality control, and you'd have to have a level of quality control, and that would be the department inspectorate doing a random sample.
Would it not be, and I know your proposals are well thought out, but would it not be more practical to do this work, say, for instance, during transition year, where that is a year already about growth and experience and development?
Absolutely, it's a very good point you make, and that, yes, is what that year is about, and that focus should be big there. But I would see this as a continuity. It might build on the transition year, and it would quantify the entire experience since junior cert.
Now, I mean, obviously, there could be the argument made then that this would skew points, you know what I mean? And, like maybe you could have people that are incredibly, incredibly academic, okay, that might not score very well in the areas that you talk of. They may not want to be involved in social activity. They may not want to be involved in sport or saving the planet, but they could be our next, top surgeons, or dare I even say politicians. So is it like, what I'm saying is that would that not automatically, could that not disadvantage certain groups of our young people by 15 points? And that's not a really great start to their lives, is it either?
No, it wouldn't disadvantage them. In fact, it will enhance. If you think of somebody who's going to be our top surgeon, wouldn't it be wonderful if our top surgeon had an awareness of their environment, thought about the world around them, if they had an intellectual curiosity outside of their role as a surgeon, and if they had a teamwork capacity and all of that. So I would see it, the emphasis will be on participation. So it wouldn't be that the top surgeon who's nerdy, a potential top surgeon, who's nerdy, who's academic, who's kind of maybe a brilliant chess player or whatever, and orientated in that way, and there's nothing wrong with that. It wouldn't be that that person would be in any way changed. It would be that that person would dip their toe in the water of social activity, would dip their toe in the water of culture and artistic and of athletic, and would become a more fulfilled and holistically satisfied person and developed. And in actual fact, this would contribute to their personal happiness also, in life later. They'll bring more to life, they'll take more from life.
Yeah. I mean, pardon my interruption, Senator. You see, what you're saying is it makes a lot of sense. But what we have conversations on this programme, and others are sure as well, is like, why are we not teaching our young people to drive, not to actually drive, but, actually in a uniform way. Their theory test could be part of their schooling, whatever it might take, just so they have an understanding of our roads. Basic, someone suggesting here, basic first aid, CPR. Now, I'm not trying to sort of layer things on top of your suggestions, but are we sort of not getting to a point whereby we need to a root and branch review so we produce far more rounded individuals right across, a whole range of areas, because there's a strong argument for all of these things, I think.
Yes, well, my colleague, Minister Simon Harris in the Higher Education Department has recently, if you like, kick-started or suggested such a debate. But I would personally see things like learning to drive, and I can acutely understand. I have a very big connection to Donegal, which we won't go into now. I genuinely spend a lot of time in Donegal, and I'm aware of the difficulty with roads and with accidents. And I know why people would say that. But I think the drive one should be within the transition year. Certainly the emphasis there on the theory test. Maybe if you could have simulated driving tracks. I don't have enough knowledge here to...
But what you're saying is, and you're well capable of saying it yourself, that this there's other times in the school over the school process that can be accommodated. You think this is is so important that this requires a specific focus in the 5th and 6th class?
Yes, absolutely. Right. So, and specifically in the transition year is a golden year and offers huge potential. And it is a free year outside of mainstream academia without examinations. And that's your year for the first aid. That's your year for the driving theory. That's your year for responsible. But
of course, not everyone does transition year. But I take your point. That's something we could. Yeah. Now, what kind of reaction have you gotten to this? Because people tuning in might think it's about to happen. It's not. It's a proposal, it's a suggestion, it's a talking point. Have you raised it with the Education Minister,
yes,
anyone else in government, and what kind of feedback are you getting?
Yes, well, I'll tell you, I've written the other day to the Minister for Higher Education, the Minister for Education. I've written to the presidents of all the teachers' unions, out of the relevant teachers' unions. I've written to the students' unions for reaction and explaining the proposal in detail to them. And I'm waiting those responses. Now, one criticism, and far be it from you, you do your job very brilliantly, and you've made very constructive criticisms of it. One point that was put to me on another radio station that I will say to you, if you like, I'd like to cover, because somebody might text it in when I'm gone, is that in some way this might discriminate in favour of the private schools who have all the fancy sports, etc. In fact, the converse is the case. I didn't think of this when I was on that station, but when I reflect on it, the converse is the case, because this would leave every student in the country the potential to, if you like, level up in an area. And it would take, in fact, those schools that the private schools have a big plus in academia as it is, and this would be a levelling up rather than...
I appreciate you saying that, and maybe I'm not quite as cynical as the last person interviewed you. I would hope that something like this would make sure that wasn't the case, rather than creating an issue. But I appreciate your time this morning, and thank you very much. We'll see what our listeners think. I appreciate your time, Senator.
Thank you. Lovely to be on Donegal Radio.
No, it's great. It's great to have you with us. Thank you. Senator Joe O'Reilly of Fine Gael there. He's Lasco Hirlach of the Shannon as well. 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts to that number. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. And if you want to email us, comments@highlandradio.com. Though I don't think we get quite a few emails, but I think people prefer texting. Or message us on our socials. We are good to have you with us. Annie McGinley watching on Facebook. Good morning to you, Annie, and the rest of you watching across our Facebook pages and YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland. Good to have you with us. A caller says, thank God I'm living in a house free of mica. It's the only thing that's lifted me today away from Eamon Ryan's PCR fix. My head really bleeds for all the mica families. Greg, just a good example of a two-tier system. They have been treated totally different from Dublin when something similar happened to them. And we're not there yet. Let's just... Well, I mean, I'm not taking away from your point. You make an excellent point. And I think you're referencing there the pyrite scheme. I'm just trying to keep my fingers crossed as to whatever announcement they might make whenever they decide to actually make it, that maybe it goes far enough down the road to be acceptable. Greg, don't you need the letter of indemnity from your insurance company so you're not in breach of your mortgage? Yes, that is life insurance, though, isn't it? In particular, I'm not sure. I probably should know. House insurance, you're obliged to have house insurance to have your mortgage, or is it life insurance? I can't remember. Greg, on Friday, our place of work sent around an email asking who was attending the Christmas party. It's the usual dinner and drinks, and then you go on or home, if you like. Is it fair that these parties should be going ahead? I would have thought so, yes. I mean, we're living currently under these guidelines. They're allowed. Will they be allowed by the time they roll around? I would suggest so, yes. There's a big meeting between government and representatives of the hospitality on Tuesday. Apparently the compliance in terms of asking for these controversial certs is not where they need it to be, and I think Micheál Martin's effectively going to tell them either, you know, you very strictly enforce these rules, or your sector might have to be pulled back a bit. We'll see what comes from that. Meeting's tomorrow. Why is Eamon Ryan cycling around on a bicycle and not wearing a helmet? If a car hits him, he could go up in the air and come down on his head. It's the law to wear a helmet on a bicycle now. Greg, don't make any excuses on this one. Well, you're not going to like this excuse I'm going to make. It's not actually the law to wear a helmet. Sorry, it's not an excuse. It's no excuse that he shouldn't. That's what I'm sorry, you're not going to be happy with me, but unless I'm very much mistaken, it's not. Right. Okay, we are going to be finding out precisely what the what could lead us to Britain triggering Article 16, and what actually could the consequences be. Back in 2 minutes.
Get your tyres ready for winter. Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Do you suffer from high cholesterol, menopause symptoms, digestive issues, anxiety, aches and pains, or a lack of energy? The highly trained team at The Natural Way Letterkenny can provide advice on natural remedies for a number of individual health issues. The Natural Way also has its own brand of herbal treatments to help fight fatigue, relieve digestive discomfort, maintain a healthy immune system, and alleviate common menopause symptoms. The Natural Way at Letterkenny Shopping Centre, your one-stop health shop.
Brian McCormick, Sports and Leisure, Main Street, Letterkenny. Have you tried the Hoka experience? Running shoes reinvented. Try the Arahai 5J frame. Offers stability with freedom. Or the new Clifton 8 with early stage Meta Rocker, giving you a responsive feel with every stride. New range of Hoka for men and women in store and online. Look the part, play the part. Click and collect on bmcsports.ie.
Do you suffer from heartburn or abdominal pain? Do you experience frequent constipation or diarrhea? If you need or are waiting for an endoscopy consultation, then why not come see us at Kingsbridge Private Hospital Sligo, where we provide excellence in private healthcare. We are approved by all private health insurers and our specialised consultants are ready to see you. Avoid long journeys and longer waiting lists. Visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.ie for more information. Because life matters.
When it comes to searching for a holiday, Atlantic Travel and Letterkenny deal with all the major tour operators from Dublin and Belfast to find you the best deals available. A week in the sun, a cruise, or maybe a short break. Whatever suits, you can book in confidence with Atlantic, knowing your holiday is protected should something go wrong. Take the hassle and worry out of your holiday booking with the award-winning Atlantic Travel, St Oliver Plunkett Road, Letterkenny. For a quote today, see Facebook, visit atlantictravel.ie or call 9126193.
Highland Radio weather updates with National Fuels, delivering home heating oil to Letterkenny and the surrounding areas at competitive prices. National Fuels, 9137 400.
A wet start this morning. Outbreaks of rain pushing eastwards across the region. Patches of rain or drizzle will be mixed with some drier intervals later in the morning, during the afternoon as well, but remaining cloudy. Temperatures 13 or 14 degrees. Paul Gosling, political commentator and author, joins us. Author, good morning, Paul. Thanks for your time this morning.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you with us. Right now, so what do you think has led us to this situation whereby it seems maybe they'll wait till after COP26, but that Britain will trigger Article 16? Could you tell us maybe what Article 16 is and what's the process of its triggering?
Well, under the agreement negotiated between the European Union and the United Kingdom government, if it is felt that the protocol was not working properly, then there's a process by which it could be suspended and new negotiations, new conversations take place. One of the grounds on which the Article 16 could be triggered is if there was a significant disruption to trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland and a disruption in traditional flows. And what David Frost, the UK negotiator, has said is that the reduction in trade flows between GB and Northern Ireland and the increase in trade flows between Northern Ireland and the Irish Republic are evidence of exactly that, and therefore Article 16 can be triggered.
And what do you think the British motivation actually is, though, for triggering Article 16 if it does as expected?
I suppose the single word dishonesty would perhaps be a bit too flippant, but I mean, essentially it's an unhappiness by the British government with the negotiations that they themselves fulfilled. It's difficult to quite understand why they agreed to something which they're not willing to implement, but that's essentially where we are. It was, I think, really a political manoeuvre by Boris Johnson to get an agreement over the line, to get a general election done, to enable him to say he got Brexit done. It was an agreement that he wasn't, I think, genuinely committed to, because I don't think the changes in trade flows are anything other than what would have been expected. It's also important to say that the disruption in trade flows should not be regarded as simply the result of the obligations under the protocol. To a large extent, it is decisions taken by British traders that they don't want the hassle of sending things over to Northern Ireland. And that is not simply about new obligations in terms of fulfilling customs declarations. It's also the fact that the British government is requiring statistical returns from traders. And so it's increased the burden of bureaucracy, but that's not entirely down to the the protocol, some of that is down to decisions taken by the British government.
Yeah, and also too, there are. I mean, business is quite good in Northern Ireland as well. I mean, these calls aren't universally coming from Northern Ireland, are they? Saying, look, we're in a terrible situation, Boris, help us out, and invoke this article.
Absolutely not. I mean, this is not about the economic realities of the protocol, which is actually very good news for Northern Ireland businesses because it gives them open access both into the GB market and into the European Union single market. So it's actually very good news. And actually, we've had an opinion poll. There's been 2 opinion polls in the last few days which show that the protocol is broadly popular with the Northern Ireland public. Mm-hmm. There is a small section of the Northern Ireland public that is unhappy with that, which is hardline unionism. But that is actually, that's a long way from the majority of the population of Northern Ireland. Broadly, a significant chunk of unionism that's involved with business, plus non-aligned people, plus nationalists and Republicans, are broadly quite happy with the protocol. And it's also untrue. I heard Jeffrey Donaldson earlier today talk about the number of British traders that are no longer willing to send goods to Northern Ireland. Well, actually, that is not altogether new. I mean, it's long been the case that a lot of British traders would not be willing to send goods to Northern Ireland.
You watch any ad break for years on any of the British channels, and they would say, delivery to mainland Britain only, excludes Northern Ireland. I mean, people have saw that for donkey's years. Also, it begs the question, who would do a deal with Britain? If you get a deal like this that's been agreed, that has been sold as a oven-ready good deal, an election was won off its back, and now we're seeing this type of this type of activity. I mean, it wouldn't be me anyway if I were a country. I wouldn't want to get into bed with Boris Johnson because I simply couldn't trust him.
Absolutely. I mean, you're completely right, Greg. I mean, it devalues the currency of diplomacy for Great Britain. I mean, this is really quite bad news. I mean, yes, it has done deals with New Zealand, but, this is quite small fry. And actually, it's also bad news for farmers, both in Northern Ireland and in the Republic, because the deals that it's negotiated with New Zealand are essentially about bringing in lower-cost food items from other countries around the world. And that means that the agri-food sector, which is particularly important in Northern Ireland, is going to have more difficulty in the future. So, yes, there are some trade deals, but not the big ones it wants. And it is at serious risk of now losing the existing trade agreement it's got with the European Union. And let's be absolutely clear, trade for Great Britain, the economy in Great Britain has suffered as a result of Brexit already. And if it loses an open free trade agreement with the European Union off the back of its reneging on the protocol, then actually that is very bad news for the British economy.
There would be a month, wouldn't there, if this were triggered for discussion. Is this, a tactic by Boris Johnson? And if it is, how firm will Europe be with him? How united and how much resolve does the EU have, I wonder, to stand up to this?
Well, everything really with Boris Johnson is about tactics without necessarily a long-term strategy or achievable objective behind it, I think. So, yes, it is a tactic. It's a political manoeuvre, and he's obviously got lots of difficulties at home. It may also involve COP26 not being the type of outcome that he actually wanted or can boast about. So, yeah, he's got political difficulties at home, and that's part of what's going on. I mean, the European Union will be really unhappy about this, and not only because you have the British government that they all perceive as reneging on an agreement and actually trying to get a better outcome than it agreed to. But actually, it has its own domestic problems. I mean, you've already heard Simon Coveney getting very angry about the UK potentially walking away from its commitments. But worse than this, the European Union has its own internal difficulties with, in particular, Poland and Hungary. And Poland is trying to get an opt-out from the European Court of Justice. And part of what the UK is trying to do is to say that Northern Ireland should not be subject to the European Court of Justice, even though it's within the single market. Now, if the EU were to agree to that, and I don't think they're intending to, then actually that creates an awful lot of difficulty with Poland, which is trying to get itself an opt-out from the European Court of Justice. And you can imagine that Hungary and possibly the Czech Republic might wish to do so as well. And in a sense, I mean, I think there will be a feeling within the European Union that the objective of the UK is to break the single market.
Yeah,
it's
feels
actually
like that.
It doesn't want the European Union to be a successful economic zone, and there will be a lot of cynicism, I think, about what Johnson wants out of this process.
All right, Paul, listen, thanks for your insight as always. I really appreciate it.
Okay, great.
All right, Paul Gosling there, political commentator and author. You're tuned to the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio. Much more to come on the programme, but we are going to take a break now for the news and the obituary notices. Stay right where you are.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donal Kavanagh at the Highland Radio News Desk. The Foreign Affairs Minister says there will be a significant threat to the British-Irish relationship if Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol is triggered. Simon Coveney says it's not a fait accompli that this will happen, but there is a lot of evidence that it will. He says triggering it would lead to serious consequences.
I think we need to clearly be preparing for that and thinking about the repercussions of that, because I think they will be very serious should that happen. And that's why I and others are out now talking openly about what I think is a very significant threat to the British-Irish relationship and also the UK-EU relationship.
The HSE has confirmed that respite services are to return to Mount Charles and Dunloe. Rehab Group are to provide respite services at Seaview House 5 days a week, while the HSE has made a funding submission to extend that service to 7 days a week. Meanwhile, respite care is set to resume at Dunloe Community Hospital upon completion of the current refurbishment next month. Donegal Deputy Thomas Pringle says not only is it important that existing services are restored, but the overall service, he says, should be expanded.
We should be looking to develop services right across the board because it's vitally important, and families need respite and they need to ensure that they can get some break so that they can continue on then providing what is they're doing the state's work and providing services on behalf of the state, and if they can be able to do that as fully as possible, I think the least they could expect is to have a decent respite service.
Deputy Michael Healy-Rae says the delay in rolling out broadband is extremely worrying to rural Ireland. From Kerry to Donegal, fewer than 3,000 homes and businesses have been connected to high-speed broadband under the National Broadband Plan. The target is to reach 115,000 premises by the end of January next year, but by then it's not thought the figure achieved will be any more than 60,000. In Donegal, some homes won't be connected until at least 2026, while it's projected that just 21% of the remaining 32,000 properties in the county without access to fibre broadband will be connected by March of 2023. Deputy Healy-Rae says the government made commitments that must be honoured.
If we were able to electrify rural Ireland back in the 40s and 50s and carry ESB into every home and place in the countryside, surely be to God, when the poles are there already and when an awful lot of the infrastructure is already actually in place, that we should be able to do this and keep to the commitment which was given at the very beginning.
Gardaí and Donegal are urging motorists to make road safety a priority and help save lives. It comes after the Buncrana Roads Policing Unit detected a number of motorists speeding yesterday. 2 drivers were issued fixed penalty charge notices after being caught travelling in excess in an 80km per hour zone in Burnfoot. A further 3 motorists were detected speeding in a 100km per hour zone on the N13. They also received fixed charge penalty notices. Gardaí are appealing to people to ensure they're travelling within the speed limit at all times. The French ambassador to Ireland will visit County Donegal tomorrow. Vincent Guérin will visit the Uthers the offices in Gweedore before a number of meetings in Letterkenny. He will also go to the courthouse in Lifford tomorrow afternoon, where a special meeting is taking place regarding the peace process. And the West Donegal councillor says cameras are needed to tackle legal dumping in the area. In recent days, household items, including a Hoover, have been dumped between Falcarra and Dunfanaghy. Councillor Michael McClafferty has once again appealed to those responsible to properly dispose of waste and has reiterated his belief that there is no other option but to install cameras in illegal dumping hotspots.
Cameras is going to have to be a thing. Hadn't cameras going to have to be a thing that Donegal County Council's going to have to push for in all areas? Discreet cameras, let them be wherever, and just try and catch these people in the act and bring them to the task, because unless that happens, we're just going to have numerous more days like this, myself, other councillors, other people of the public raising this, talking about it, and it's just the whole thing's going to get out of hand once again.
Looking at the weather forecast, after a very wet start in most areas this morning, outbreaks of rain will push eastwards right across the region. Patchy rain or drizzle will be mixed with some drier intervals later in the morning and during the afternoon. It will remain mostly cloudy today, though. Highest temperatures 13 or 14 degrees Celsius in moderate to fresh southwesterly winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
The obituary notices for this Monday morning, November the 8th. The death has taken place in Chicago of Anthony Mcglynn, Hamish, formerly of Drumnaskey, Malin-Head. Funeral will take place on Wednesday in Chicago. The death has taken place of Betty Graham, Devlin Moore, Carrigard. Her remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there tomorrow afternoon after a private family service in her home at 12:15, going to Carrigard Presbyterian Church for burial service at 1 o'clock, with interment immediately afterwards in the family burial ground. Wake and funeral are private to family and friends only, please. The death has occurred of Margaret Barr, 540 Grove Cottages, Muff. Removal tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock to Sacred Heart Church, Muff, for Requiem Mass at 1:30, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Margaret's Requiem Mass can be viewed on MCN Media, Muff. Wake is strictly private to family and friends only. Family time from 11 p.m. until 10 a.m. Family flowers only. Donations in lieu of desired to Buncrana Community Hospital Patients Comfort Fund, care of any family member or Murphy Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of Rosella Rosie Sheeran, née McLaughlin, 8 Coal Hill Park, Newton Cunningham, and formerly Glengad Malin. Her remains will be reposing at her home this evening from 8 o'clock. Requiem Mass on Wednesday morning at 11 o'clock in All Saints Church in Newton Cunningham, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. Requiem Mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv/Newton Cunningham. Family time, please, from 11 p.m. until 12 noon. The death has occurred of Jackie Breslin, number 3, Glenview Ardra, and formerly Stravalley. His remains will repose at McCabe's funeral premises, Ardra, today from 3:30 until 6:30, followed by removal to the Church of the Holy Family, Ardra, for 7 o'clock to repose overnight. Funeral Mass tomorrow at 12 noon, with burial afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Harry Leo Dougherty, Bridgend. His remains are reposing at his home. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in Our Lady of Lourdes Church, Inch, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The death has taken place of Hugh McDavid, 98, Ardmacul Stranorler, and formerly from Cumrick, Clohan. Hugh's remains are reposing at his home. Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning in the Church of Mary Immaculate Stranorler, with interment afterwards in Drumbo Cemetery. Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam at churchservices.tv/Stranorler. The death has occurred of Noreen Begley, Moff, and formerly of Lechermack Ward. Her remains are reposing in her sister Kathleen West's house in Lechermack Ward. Funeral Mass tomorrow in St Bridget's Church, Lechermack Ward at 12 noon, with interment afterwards in the new cemetery. The death has taken place of Joan McElcher, née Crawford, Ballylast, Lifford, and formerly of Grotto House, Port Hall. Funeral leaving her home tomorrow afternoon at 12:20 for Requiem Mass in St Patrick's Church, Murdoch, Lifford at 1 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Donations in lieu of flowers, please, to ICU, Galway University Hospital, care of Quigley Funeral Directors. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam, clonleeparish.com/webcam. The death has occurred of Maeve Dougherty, née Grant, Boher Crow, Old Road, Tipperary Town, Tipperary, and late of Drumbarnet, Manor Cunningham, County Donegal. Mass for Maeve will take place in St Michael's Church at Tipperary this afternoon at 2 o'clock. Burial afterwards in St Michael's Cemetery, Tipperary. Mass may be viewed on St Michael's Parish Tipperary.ie. The death has occurred of Patrick Joseph Nicol, 543 Carnhill. Funeral leaving his home this morning at 10:20, going to Bridget's Church at Carnhill for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the city cemetery. The death has taken place of Bernadette Ayton, 1 Oak Park, Convoy and formerly of Tops Rafo. Funeral leaving her sister Angela Rogers home Tops Rafo tomorrow morning at 11:20 for Requiem Mass in St Eunan Church Rafo at 12 noon. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam, parishofrafo.com. The death has taken place of Annie Brennan, née Gallagher, 26 Knockavoe Crescent, Strabane. Funeral leaving her home tomorrow morning at 9:20 for Requiem Mass in St Mary's Church, Melmount at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam, melmountparish.com/webtv.html. And the death has taken place of Patrick Sharkey, Strohan Fulcara, who remains reposing at his niece Rosemary Kern's residence in Strohan. Funeral Mass in Christ the King Church, Gortahork, this morning at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in the adjacent cemetery. The funeral Mass can be viewed on MCN Media, Gortahork, and on the Kieran Rorty Funeral Director Facebook page. For more details, including any family health guidelines for wakes and funerals, you can go to highlandradio.com.
You're very welcome back to the 9 till noon show here on Highland Radio. Some of your comments coming in on the programme, and thank you very much for them. Cannot believe that a dead deer has been lying on the side of the road between Cranford and Milford, just beside the Glen Road. It's been there for the last 2.5 weeks. Workers and officials are up and down that road several times every day. Surely, if it's not their job to move it, they could contact the right people to do so. Sorry, Greg, for torturing you again. It's not a torture, by the way. It's great to get all communications in. But they say, I'm really sick to the core today with Eamon Ryan. One rule for him and definitely another for Joe Soap. Not fair at all with the country on its knees. I do think everyone should protest against this in Dublin. No doubt it's because who it was and COP26 is involved. Another morning, Greg. It's good you brought up Eamon Ryan's COVID case. I have had a lot of family members and also know a lot of people who've unfortunately tested positive for COVID, and not one of them was called for a retest. Sounds strange to me, but not really surprised. I don't think some rule applies to everyone. Well, you see, what happens in a situation like this, and I'm not sure if the government are aware of it or not, and it's not government bashing. These are the people charged with running the country. It does, at the very least. Okay, what will be happening today is people will be feeling fine, asymptomatic, feeling fine, and they will get back a positive COVID result, okay? And instantly, what would be the human emotion when that would happen? You'd go, well, it must be a negative. I need to get tested again. Eamon Ryan got tested twice. The second one was negative. I feel good. You know, maybe you've had the vaccine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not sitting in the house for a week or however long it is. I feel great. You know, what's happened here is the same thing that's happened to Eamon Ryan. I need another test. Or others will not. They'll be asymptomatic, feeling great. They'll be asked to go for a test and they won't. They'll say, I'm not going for a test because it's probably going to be a negative. It's probably going to be a false positive, and I can't take time off work. I can't keep the children out of school. And this is what happens, right? So I'm not saying... What I don't understand is that they don't understand the consequences of this type of a news story. It's not about him getting special treatment. It's how people look on and they go, well, you know, that's happening at the highest level of government. Well, what about me? What about my situation? Very human, very understandable approach. And that is not having a go at Eamon Ryan. He was called back for the HSE. I don't want people to think I'm bashing him, but I know how this will play out in our minds. Hi, Greg. In relation to Eamon Ryan getting a second test, this is just typical of the government doing something until they get the answer they want. Keep putting out a referendum until they get the answer they want. Keep PCR testing until they get the answer they want. I know he's a government official, but surely a positive test is a positive test. Does this not raise questions over the validity of all tests? Then I was so angry when I heard he got a second test, and that I didn't see that message. I don't get to see them before they came in. By coincidence, there's a person really pretty much confirming the scenario I was describing just before I read it. Greg, just totally disgusted with our government, again this time it being Eamon Ryan. How in the name of God did he manage to get another PCR test when he first tested positive? If it were me or you, this would not happen. It's totally disgusting, and all the people that have tested positive, over 3,000 a day, should demand another test. Again, another text making my point. Maybe best of three, huh? Eamon Ryan got a clear COVID test this evening after a negative test yesterday, so he's heading to Scotland in the morning on his bicycle to the summit. He's not going on his bike, but I'd take your point. I don't believe he is anyway. We were chatting to Ray in the first hour of the show. My heart's broken listening to him. He donated Letterkenny University Hospital with scrubs when the pandemic hit the hospital. Why do bad things happen to good, kind people? I wish him and his family well and hope they and all families receive 100% redress. It's no more than they deserve. And please thank him for his kindness to us, the frontline workers. Thank you very much for that. I won't mention your name, but hopefully Ray's still listening and he'll appreciate the mention there. Right, you are tuned to the 9 till noon show. We're going to take the bingo numbers, but I want to just let you know in the most simple terms, okay? We have a competition, a draw running on our website. We're mentioning here in the radio. Go onto the website and you can buy a ticket. Tickets are €10 for one, or you can get 6 for 50 or 10 for 80. If you buy your ticket in the next couple of weeks, you are in for a chance to win €2,000. A draw will be made on this programme on December 3rd, I believe it is. Someone's going to win $2,000 in cash. Later that month, someone's going to win a brand new Kia Ceed petrol model in white and has all the extras you'd expect from a Kia, worth almost $30,000. It's in association with our friends at iMotors. So if you want to be involved in that, go on the website, buy a ticket. You can individually name them if you want to give them as gifts. Okay, back with more after the bingo numbers and a short break.
It's time for NCBI Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Monday the 8th of November. You're playing on the green sheet. The reference number is S1. It's game number 45. The numbers are 16, 46, 75, 23, 45, 11, 40, 33, 38, and finally 25. Phone your claim to 9104833 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your NCBI bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Get your tyres ready for winter. Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Oh, my favourite.
That's Miss Murphy. She's just opened her M&S app and seen that she's got a little treat just for being a loyal M&S customer. Not only that, but every time she shops with Sparks, she's in with a chance to get her entire shop for free.
Yum! Nut.
You've got some sugar around your mouth? There. No, just there. Yeah, now you're good. Sparks, the new reward scheme from M&S. Good things happen every time you shop. Join today in the M&S app. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. For details, see marksandSpencer.ie.
Beat the cost of Brexit and no customs charges. Do you need a UK address? For your limited company or personal use, Space Hub in Derry can provide you with your own virtual office or mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. Also brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock. Ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook or spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for details.
Northern Ireland's premier Christmas event, the Enchanted Winter Garden, returns to the award-winning Antrim Castle Gardens from Saturday 27th of November until Tuesday the 21st of December. This outdoor Christmas extravaganza has a dazzling array of festive attractions to capture the magic of Christmas. Be enchanted by the stunning illuminations, the spectacular Wonderland Wood, live music, festive fare, and the Big Wheel. Why not make your visit extra special with a staycation or dinner? Check out our special offers and book your tickets at enchantedwintergarden.com. Sponsored by Belfast International Airport.
Hello, Farmer Tenny here from Tenny's Toys. Loads of top quality toys and models in stock. Everything from electric ride-on toys from the likes of Peg Parago and Razor to go-karts from Dino and miniature figurines from Schleich. We're Ireland's largest farm toy superstore, right in your doorstep here in Letterkenny. Oh, and online at tennystoys.com with express delivery. Savings Club now open with a wee deposit securing any item. Down by.
Live electricity wires are always near, and coming close to them can be dangerous. So always ask yourself, are you sure it's safe? Look out for electricity wires above and below you. If in doubt, call us on 1800 372 999. It might just save your life. ESB Networks. Stay safe and stay clear of electricity wires.
Okay, Sean's on with us now. Hiya, Sean.
Yes, how are you?
It's good to have you with us, Sean. Right now, you're in the Letterkenny area. Tell us who you were. Tell us what you've contacted us about, Sean.
Well, I don't normally ring in about things like that, but I'm a teacher with the Donegal ETB, and I'm on parental leave at the moment. My wife's working, and I'm home with the baby. And this week, last week, I had occasion to be up in Letterkenny, staying with friends for the week, and I was going up to the swimming pool, you know, the leisure centre out the Garden Road, and it's such a fantastic facility for the town. You know, it's a beautiful pool, and the gym facilities are great, and the staff are wonderful. So I was going up there every day, actually, just trying to get a bit of exercise in, you know. And I walked up there from the main street out to the leisure centre on Tuesday, and I walked up on Wednesday, and I walked up on Thursday and Friday, and I went up on Saturday. So I was having a very healthy week last week.
Good, man.
But I had to ring in and get in touch, because each day when I went up to the leisure centre, walked up from the town, as I crossed the road at the zebra crossing, you know, you're walking in from the town, the footpath's on one side of the road, and when you get to the leisure centre, you have to cross over at the zebra crossing to get over to the leisure centre. And each day when I went to make that crossing, the cars would drive through me. And I mean, like, at one point I was in the middle of the road, so I was halfway across it, and the guy kept coming at speed, and he just drove straight through me, you know. And it happened, so it wasn't just a one-off fluke, you know, it wasn't like one careless driver. It happened each day.
So that is not viewed then by motorists in your experience, and it's extensive experience at this stage. It is not approached as or treated as a zebra crossing. In other words, the pedestrian has the right of way there.
Yeah, that doesn't seem to be happening. Because it happened all 5 days, I thought, you know what, there's a serious problem here, I think, with drivers in Letterkenny. And I started thinking, God, there's some terrible drivers in Letterkenny. But then I thought about it a bit more, and I realised, in fairness to the drivers in Letterkenny, it's actually a terrible place to put a zebra crossing. You know, zebra crossings are normally in urban areas or suburban areas where the traffic's moving slower, and there's a lot of really good street lighting, because the zebra crossing is based on the idea that the driver can anticipate, oh, there's someone walking along, they're planning to cross the road, they're stepping out, and I better get ready to stop. But that zebra crossing we have in Letterkenny is on the main road, and there's not actually a lot of visibility coming from the town direction, and it's, you know, it's the main road. People are going pretty fast along there. And I think the drivers of Letterkenny just said, you know what, it's actually very dangerous for us to try to stop at short notice for pedestrians here on this main road, and because the guy behind me might go into the back of me, you know, so I'm not going to even try. And actually, see, in the evening, as we come into the winter, one of the days that I went out there, I think it was the Wednesday, I was coming home, it was about 6:30, so it was pitch black dark already. And there isn't actually enough light on that zebra crossing for the motorists to see the pedestrians. I think the guy that went through me that night, I doubt that he actually saw me on the crossing.
Another thing too, and I think particularly for our younger people, Sean, is the zebra crossing might even be worse than having nothing there at all, because it gives the pedestrian a full sense of security.
Well, that's really why I rang in. Like, I have 4 children, and the thing about a zebra crossing, it's very distinctive. You know, it's in storybooks and stuff. Children kind of know about it. And they go, that's a zebra crossing. I don't need to necessarily be as careful as I am crossing the road elsewhere. The cars have to stop for me, which is exactly what I did as an adult, you know, until I realised that's not how it worked here. So my children someday might be walking from the town up to that leisure centre, and they go to cross the road there, and they assume the cars will stop for them, but they aren't stopping. And as long as that's the case, I think, as you say, it'd be much safer not to have it there at all.
Sean, how did you find the footpath from the leisure centre into town?
Well, as I'm sure all your listeners know, that's far too narrow, but that's another story. But I mean, at least there is a footpath, you know. But I think what might work there is a traffic light crossing, a green man. You press the button, you wait for the green man, the traffic has to come to a stop. There's a red traffic light. The cars stop. You get the beep, the green man, you cross. And then children know to wait for the green man, and then it's a wee bit safer. And I think people would stop for a red traffic light if that was there. But until they get around to installing something like that, I think the thing that's there now needs to be removed. You could put up some signs, slow down pedestrians, all that. But as long as that zebra crossing is there, and children, visitors to the town, tourists, the elderly, what about people with intellectual disabilities? Like you could have someone, I have relatives, they are on the autistic spectrum. They see a zebra crossing and they think, this means I can walk across the road and a car has to stop.
And what is I don't know what level of training. What would this mean to say someone with a guide dog, for example, visually impaired? Are these dogs trained to see that as a zebra crossing? I'm not trying to look for extreme examples, but this is reality, and it's not only you, Sean, that's raising this. Local councillors have raised it. Other road users, both motorists and pedestrians, have raised it. We don't want to find ourselves in a situation whereby something terrible happens here and no one will have any excuse. There'll be no, well, we didn't anticipate this, or no one said this to us. People are well aware that there are problems here.
The serious side of it, is if someone was not, God forbid, someone was knocked down there in the next while, I think as soon as they were knocked down, the thing would be changed overnight, immediately. And that person shouldn't have to be knocked down and killed in order for that to be changed. It's not rocket science. It'd be very easy to go down there this week and remove it, because it's not safe if motorists aren't stopping at us. And then hopefully we get something safer put in place. Speed ramps, better signage, better lighting, maybe even a green man crossing like I suggested. But until that's all done, the thing that's there just needs to be taken away, because there will be people coming. There will be children. There'll be people who, I had to jump out of the way of cars this week in Letterkenny, and that's not right. And I thought, if you were disabled, if you had any injury, if you were in a wheelchair, you wouldn't have that option, and I would have been killed in that situation.
All right, listen, thanks for that, Sean. It's an important issue, and thanks for highlighting it with us. You've been the latest person to express concerns. Road users, genuine people who aren't roads engineers necessarily, but they're road users, and they say this ain't safe. And your experience of last week certainly underlines that. Thanks, Sean.
Thanks for having me on. Thanks a minute.
Take care. What do you think? Do you agree? I don't think... Is there a space to disagree? If you know that road, there seems to be a general consensus that something needs to be done. But Sean's gone a bit further there. I think he's saying that until such time as something is done correctly, take the zebra crossing away because it has the potential to exacerbate the situation rather than improve it.
Get your tyres winter ready. Drop into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
It's flu season, so if you're 65 or over, it's time to get your free annual flu vaccine. While anyone can catch the flu, you're more at risk of getting seriously ill or needing hospital treatment. And the new flu vaccine is the best way to protect yourself from the flu. So make an appointment with your GP or pharmacist today. Visit hse.ie/flu for more. From the HSE.
Our Christmas Club is now open at Michael Murphy Sports and Leisure. A small deposit will secure your favourite items or the perfect present. We have some great gift ideas for all the family, including jumbo rebounders, multi-sport goalposts, Donegal gift boxes and so much more. Shop local and get everything you need at michaelmurphysports.ie.
At Aldi, we've got hundreds of passionate suppliers all over Ireland. Fancy a tour? To Cork for Morgan's fine fish Irish hake fillets. Kilkenny for O'Shea's potatoes and carrots. Wicklow for John Pringle's specially selected slow-cooked Irish lamb shoulder. And to Coughlin's Bakery Kildare for specially selected cinnamon buns. If they ask where you've been when you get home, just say you've been to Aldi. Aldi, the best of Ireland brought home to your table.
St Columba's College Donegal are accepting applications for first year enrolment for the 2022-2023 academic year from Monday, November 8th until Monday, November 29th. Application forms are available on their website, stcolumbuscollege.ie, or from the school office on 074 91 31 246.
A public interest message from Donegal County Council. Applications are now open for the Donegal Enterprise Awards hosted by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. The awards celebrate the diversity and strength of the small business community in Donegal and the role they play in our local economy. A prize fund of €12,000 will be awarded across 7 different categories. This is an excellent opportunity to promote and showcase your business. All finalists will be profiled and attend the award ceremony in December. Apply before the 15th of November via localenterprise.ie/Donegal. Email info@leo.donegalcoco.ie for more information, or call the local enterprise office 074 91 60735. Donegal County Council, supporting local businesses.
Store and Go Springtown Dairy, the north of Ireland's only temperature-controlled smart access individually sized storage units.
Store and Go offers storage for personal storage, house moves and renovations, business storage for excess stock or filing systems. Once signed up, you can access 24 hours a day through an app on your phone, gaining access through 4 levels of security to your most precious possessions.
Call Store and Go Springtown Dairy on 02871 278 900 to discuss your needs and get bespoke advice, or get a free quote at storeandgo.net.
Christmas is well underway at Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Park for free and get everything you need. Thank you for shopping with us this Christmas. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at...
Ho, 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 it's 10:30. You're welcome back to the programme. Texter says that zebra crossing is too close to the bend on that road. Another says, unless there's a light at the zebra crossing, it's the driver's discretion to stop, I think. And listen, thanks for your contribution, but it just goes to show, it's not clear. It should be clear. Right, more comments on that, please, to 08660 25,000. It's time for us at 10:30 to take a break for a piece of music. Okay, there you have it. That was UB40. 08660 25,000, your WhatsApps and texts to that number. Give Caroline a call on 074 91 25,000. Now, you might remember last week someone texted into the show because they had someone calling at their house claiming to be from the CSO, and they weren't sure if it were genuine the CSO arriving at the property or someone purporting to be, with a view maybe to canvassing their property and having ulterior motives. So we reached out to the CSO, and they are, in fact, canvassing people, if that's the right word, across the county at least. And we're joined now by Bridie O'Donnell, who is CSO coordinator in the Northwest. Bridie, thank you so much for joining us, and thanks for clarifying the situation. As you can imagine, Bridie, people are very much on edge at the moment because there are a lot of people calling at homes, and we are eternally warning them about this. In recent weeks, we had someone calling claiming to be from local businesses selling pots and pans. So obviously it's great to have this opportunity to chat to you and clarify the situation, but I hope you and the CSO understand how people might be a bit cautious.
Very much so, Greg, and thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity you've given me. Yes, we're very conscious of security, and no matter what it is now with this technology, with our phones or our emails or people calling to our house, we have to be extremely careful. And our interviewers that are out on the road are very conscious of that.
All right, tell us about what you're doing as part of this survey, or even the work of the CSO more generally. People hear it all the time. People consume the stats, but maybe not know how we all arrive at that point.
Okay, perfect. That's great. Well, just to let you know, we have 3 permanent interviewers working in Donegal. I'm sure that'll be of interest to your listeners. And we have 1 temporary interviewer. We also have an interviewer based in Sligo who covers parts of Donegal as well. You have a vast county, which warrants all these interviewers. So what we do, basically, we conduct surveys and we collect data. Our interviewers are out on the road every week, all year round, and they're collecting data from households, doing their surveys. You hear on news bulletins regularly where, according to the latest figures from Central Statistics Office, well, that's the last step in our work. The process commences with the interviewer conducting asking the survey questions. The householder responds, and then the data is processed and the results are published. So when that publication takes place, we're actually very confident that it's accurate results because the householder has given us the information. So that's basically it in a nutshell, what we do.
So what kind of inquiries are your interviewers making at the moment? Or is it a whole series of different areas whilst you're at that front door?
Right. How we conduct our surveys, we work in areas, we obviously have a mix of urban and rural. We would know them. You would probably identify with them as areas and households. We identify them as blocks and LDU numbers. And the households are randomly selected. The beginning of the process is that the householder will receive a letter asking them to participate in the survey, notifying them that the interviewer will call to them. It also contains that block number and LDU number. And it also will have the interviewer's name and telephone number on that. At that point, the householder can make contact with the interviewer, and if they so wish to do the interview then, or at a future time, the interviewers are very, very good and they're very accommodating, and they will do the survey over the phone with the household at their convenience.
Now, so just to be clear, because obviously, Bridie, I know the CSO do great work and we carry much of what you do, but I also, my primary interest is in people who maybe particularly feel worried or vulnerable, okay? Yeah. So there are going to be opportunistic people calling at doors, potentially hearing this, saying, well, they sent a letter out, I'm here now, can we... So as a homeowner, as a household, or the person that opens the door, how can they best ensure that this is an interviewer from the CSO carrying out this important work?
Well, they will already have had the letter, so the interviewer's name is on that letter. When the interviewer calls to the household, they will have their official ID with them as well, and that ID will match the name on the letter. We're very, very conscious of security and making sure that people know exactly who we are. If a householder does not see the ID, then they really must ask for it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, interviewers take it upon themselves to take every precaution and let everybody know exactly where they are, to the point where I think most, if not all, of my interviewers certainly would have identified themselves and introduced themselves in Garda stations. Because obviously if the public has a worry about who's coming to the door, they can call the Garda station, and if they're in a position to validate that this genuinely is somebody working for Central Statistics Office.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah,
it makes good sense.
Now, do people have if they get this letter, can they opt out of this? Do you know what I mean? So in other words, say they get the letter and they don't either want to engage over the phone or wait for the person. They can ring up and say, look, I'm not interested.
Yes, they can talk to the interviewer and let them know if they're not interested. Generally speaking, we wouldn't have that amount of people that would not be interested in conducting the survey. Actually, we're always rather amazed at the response from the public.
So,
and the other thing, Greg, while we're just on that, just to let your listeners know as well that the information they give is confidential, and that's guaranteed under law, under the Statistics Act of, I think, 1993. And their data is safe also because the tablets and the phones that our interviewer use, they're encrypted to a very high standard.
All right. So what then, in terms of what happens to this information, what is it used for? Do you know what I mean? Is it about collating? Is it about collating where we're at, or is it to find out where we need to, where we're at and where we need to be? Is this information used for policy making or the use of resources or what have you? Explain a bit to us about that.
Yeah. It's a bit of both, Greg. We do many surveys, but I suppose the biggest survey that we conduct is the labour force survey. That's done on a quarterly basis, done all year round, and it gives a measurement of employment, unemployment, and it can give a very accurate picture of the situation both regionally and nationally. And of course, the results of that labour force survey are very important because they are used for planning. They're used by individuals, businesses, local government, national government for planning such as job creation, education, and other areas that affect all of us.
All right, excellent.
So interesting. That's one. The other, we also do what we call a SILK survey. It's a survey on income and living conditions. Now, this survey does exactly as it says. It's a survey on income and living conditions, and it measures households' incomes and expenditure.
Okay, so when we talk about figures relating to our level of disposable income, for example,
that's it.
Unfortunately, we're always bottom of that list, but that is how that information is gotten together.
Absolutely, that's how that comes about, because we may be on terrific wages, but we may have very little disposable income.
Okay, listen, Bridie, thanks. Yes, go ahead. Finally, Bridie. Yep, Bridie.
But there's also included in that survey, in the SILK survey, there's also a suite of questions on deprivation. And that's important as well, because it can show us if there are cohorts in society that are maybe more at risk of poverty than others.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, the last, the other surveys we do, they're called GHS, but it's an umbrella name for many surveys. We do crime, health, well-being, computer usage, and at the moment, there is currently a national transport survey in the field. So as you can see, Greg, our interviewers are very, very busy on the ground. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank the public because I worked as an interviewer myself for many, many years, and I had a very positive experience. And to thank them for their cooperation and their participation.
What percentage of the time were you offered a cup of tea or coffee?
More than I can remember, Greg.
Okay. Bridie.
It's actually very encouraging now because that the interviewers are back doing what they do best. They're telling me the same stories. They said, you wouldn't believe it, but we're still being invited into households.
Okay.
So
Bridie, thank you for that, and I appreciate your time, and it's good to get that information out, and it's good for the public, and it's good for the CSO. There's no losers in this, because if there's any those types of conversations happening out there, it's good that they're put out through here, and then we can have these types of conversations. Thanks, Bridie.
Great. I'm very grateful to you, Greg, for affording me the opportunity to give you an insight into the work we do and how important it is, and to certainly reassure the public that we are genuine.
Of course, and it's the fair and proper thing to do. Thanks, Bridie, for doing it so well. Take care.
Greg.
Bye-bye. Okay, that was indeed Bridie O'Donnell, who's CSO coordinator for the Northwest. So hopefully that information has helped you there. 086 60 25,000, I think I said, didn't I? That is the WhatsApp number. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. Right, we'll be back with more after these messages.
Winter is coming. Get your tyres winter ready. Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Buy a ticket in Highland Radio's mega draw to win a car. Get your ticket by November 30th and automatically enter an extra draw before the big draw. One lucky winner will walk away with €2,000. Imagine, that's Christmas all wrapped up. Christmas sorted. The draw will take place on Wednesday, December 1st on the 9 till noon show. 9 till noon. And you're still in with a chance to win the Kia X-Ceed worth over €28,000. 28 grand.
It's that simple to win that car.
To get your ticket, log on to highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, exceeding your expectations.
Ooh.
At Life Pharmacy, we're focused on your family's health, immunity and well-being. This winter, call into your local Life Pharmacy for expert advice on vitamins, supplements and everything you need to support your family's health. Plus, ask about our special 3-for-2 offer on selected vitamins and supplements. Visit Ward's Life Pharmacy in Johnstown Village and discover a team that's always there to help you. Life Pharmacy. Live better together.
Don't sleep in and miss the very latest beds and mattress offers from dfibeds.ie, Ireland's leading online bed and mattress retailer. You'll get a comfy Irish-made mattress, upholstered base and headboard from an amazing €229. Check out the full range at dfibeds.ie. Delivery free and guaranteed to you within 7 working days. DFI Beds. Sleep well, live well.
The iconic ABBA return with Voyage, their first new album in 40 years. Featuring the songs Just an Ocean, I Still Have Faith in You, and Don't Shut Me Down. ABBA Voyage sounds like Christmas at Golden Discs.
Tardelli are the manufacturers of tyre changing equipment and are in stock and ready for distribution from Tyre Bay Direct. Buy a brand new tyre changing machine which features a run flat arm and tubeless inflating device, perfect for changing 10 to 26 inch rims. All for only €2,800 and comes with a full 2-year warranty. Buy in November and receive a free 3-ton low lift trolley jack. Available for free nationwide delivery today. Call Mick at Tyre Bay Direct on 087 255 8275 or visit tirebaydirect.ie.
Candles, lanterns, Christmas trees, decorations and all types of lights. Everything you need for Christmas. Experience the magic of Christmas at Cooney's. Our biggest and best Christmas shop has outstanding value on lights and trees. There really is something for everyone at Cooney's Letterkenny Retail Park.
Okay, our next guest on the programme is Sean Mcglynn. Hi, Sean.
Hi, Greg.
We're talking, continuing a conversation about the crossing out towards the Aura Leisure Centre. It's nothing to do with the Leisure Centre, by the way. It's just that's why a lot of people are going out there or coming in the way or crossing the road. This has been on your radar for quite some time now.
It has, Greg. I wrote to the council some years ago. I can't even remember how long it was.
The problem is, from day one, I know you say the crossing onto the Euro Leisure Centre, but I mean, that's basically where it's going. From day one, they've had the strips or the markings on the footpath for blind people to tell them that there's a crossing. Now, from day one, there was no lights whatsoever there, so I don't know how a blind person was going to cross that road. The problem is that there's also the traffic, because it's a busy road, as you know. And coming out of the town, there is markings on the road to say there's a crossing ahead, but it's very hard to see for drivers even. And even with the lights, it's hard to see, because you can see the drivers will now see the lights. They're just around globes on top of the poles. But on the left, when they come around the left, they have a left-hand bend. And when they come around the left-hand bend, it's very hard to see people standing on the left. So even if they see the crossing, they cannot see if there's people standing there or not.
Right, so what we need then is to get rid of the ambiguity. It needs a set of traffic lights, green, amber, red.
It needs the crossing lights like we have at Dunn Stores, or we have at Tesco, or we have at the new shopping precinct on the Pierce Road. Because, well, first of all, I don't know why they put stuff there for blind people, because, I mean, unless you want to kill them.
Yeah. Well, we know that's not their intention, but I take your point.
No, I'm joking. But
I get you. But you've tested this.
Why put them there at all? Why put those things there at all?
But you've tested this, haven't you?
I walked the dog. So one day I decided, look, I'll go up to the crossing. I'll stand with the dog. There's me and the dog, and I'll stand there and I'll see how long it takes for somebody to stop. Now I counted at least maybe 12, 15, 16 cars before one of them stopped. But I don't blame the traffic at the same time, because there's no indication of what it says crossing, but I think a lot of people are probably expecting lights, and they don't see any lights. And by the time they realise the crossing is there, they've already gone through it.
Given the location of the crossing, Sean, say for instance, there were lights and 3 cars are red and it goes back a little bit. Is the danger then, though, if the traffic's backed up there, someone could drive into the back of that traffic? In other words, the location of this crossing, would it be safe to put the same type of lights that you see elsewhere in the town?
Well, the thing about that, Greg, is, I mean, well, it's safe from the side coming into town, because there's a long view back.
Yes.
People are coming into the town. Coming out from the town, Kelly's Corner is there, which it's always been. So Kelly's Corner is always a bit of danger, because there's always a blind side there. But the thing about it is, even if the cars stop now to let people cross, it's got the same danger anyway. You know what I mean? If cars were to stop in a line of cars coming out now without the lights, even if somebody was crossing and the car stopped, you've still got the same problem.
Kind so what is the solution? Do we need traffic calming measures then? And then the lights you talk of?
Yeah, I think we do need some kind of traffic calming measures, but we do need the crossing lights, because, I mean, drivers are obviously, it's obvious when there's crossing lights, it's obvious. You've got the colours, so you know you're going to stop or what you've got to do.
Yeah. And maybe the attitude needs to be that the town boundary's out beyond that. In other words, that you're not still flying in inverted commas, and then you hit the town and you slow down and you switch your attitude because you're in an urban area. Maybe we need to, and I presume it's the subject of planning down the line, but push out the town boundary so that by the time you've come to the Ora Leisure Centre, you are in a town mentality, slowing down.
It is in the town boundary.
Right, I don't know then, so I don't know what the solution is, because it's a rat race, what some people have described it to me as, that people are just bombing in, and it's not until they see the bright lights close up that they actually start slowing down and changing attitudes.
Well, as you say, for some kind of traffic calming measures, I mean, like, I suppose they do out at the park, they do have, the island in the middle of the road?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they had that here, it's possible people will slow down, because obviously if the road narrows.
Would that road accommodate 2 articulated vehicles and an island and a footpath all as narrow as it is, I wonder?
Well, at the moment, where the crossing is just before the turning off lane to the Ora, so you actually have 3 lanes there already.
Okay.
Including the turning off lane, but I mean, we need to look at it, but it's possible. But I think the first thing they need to do, they did put up the lights, the orange lights on top of the poles. Now, why they did that, I don't know, because the sensible thing to do at that stage, if we're going to put lights at all, was just to put up the crossing lights.
Okay. Sean, listen, thanks for your local input, your local knowledge. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
All right,
Greg.
take care. That's Sean Mcglynn there. 086 60 25,000. Agree? Disagree?
Are your tyres ready for winter? Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
As you start rediscovering Northern Ireland again, we want you to explore with confidence. That's why we've introduced the We're Good to Go industry standard for tourism and hospitality businesses. So you know they've agreed to follow COVID-19 safety guidelines, like social distancing, following the recommended cleaning processes and undergoing spot checks. So you can enjoy your break to the full. Look out for the safety symbol for businesses that are good to go. Northern Ireland, we're good to go. Brought to you by Tourism Northern Ireland in partnership with UK national tourism bodies.
Milford Tiles and Wood Flooring Milford Retail Park now open. Large range of wall and floor tiles on display and in stock. Over 70 different laminate floors to suit every pocket. Tilers and wood fitters available. You're welcome to call in and have a look around. Milford Tiles and Wood Flooring 083 091 0707.
Click and Collect is now available at your nearest Tesco. Get your shopping freshly clicked and freshly picked, ready for you to park and pick up outside the store. Shop online and book your slot for free today at tesco.ie. Tesco. Every little helps.
Homeland Fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 20 kg Eco Bright, buy 5 bags for €50. Softwood logs, 3 bags for €10. 1 kg fire logs, 4 for €5. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
Live music and entertainment is back at the Alley Theatre Strabane with the Dubliners Show, Conall Gallen, Sorry for Your Loss, Cash Returns, The Johnny and June Story, The Christmas Country with the Stars Show and Strabane Chamber Choir. For more information and tickets, alley-theatre.com or follow our socials.
Highland Radio weather updates with National Fuels Letterkenny. For a keen price on your home heating oil, call National Fuels on 9137 400.
So the rain's going to push through the region throughout the course of this morning, what's left of it. Patches of rain and drizzle then will be mixed with some drier intervals during the afternoon, but mainly cloudy. Temperatures of 13 or 14 degrees, which seems quite mild, is it, for this time of year? And the winds moderate to fresh southwesterly in direction. Some of your comments here. All that needs is a ramp 30 feet in front of the crossing and the cars will have to slow down. Getting those types of measures in place, especially if it's a TII road, though, requires a lot of efforts and surveys and all this type of stuff. But listen, I mean, these are road users saying they don't feel safe on it. Every time I pass the leisure pool in Buncrana, I think of how much our young school children are missing out on lessons. Is there no way this venue could have been kept open the way it was? Such a waste. And I'm like most local people, will feel it may never reopen. Enjoying the show. Thank you. Let's anyone out there have an update on what the situation is. I mean, that's a story we've covered extensively. It can be controversial at times. But let us know. Well, we can find out what the update is, because I think there were some... Last time I was discussing it now, it was maybe even pre-COVID, there were some positive indications of progress. Why is there only one zebra crossing at New Line Road and none at schools or other places in the town? It really is a danger for our children. Why do people ignore these temporary speed warnings? If I'm heading out the road up Lurgy-Brack, there is a 60 kilometre per hour speed limit there. The light comes on to indicate that's the case. And you slow down to 60 and every car passes you. Every car, vans, lorries... Every car passes you going up there. What is the function of them? Is there any enforcement at all? And I'm sure it's not exclusive to there, because the same happens at Lahey. As I'm getting closer to home, you slow down to 60, people ride up behind you, a couple of flash their lights, and all you're trying to do is to do the right thing. And I'm not saying I'm an angel, by the way, but when it comes to children... And still people also doing U-turns at the top of Lurgy-Brack too. I wouldn't risk that or take my life in my hands like that there. A U-turn across that road. Unbelievable stuff sometimes is what you see. All right, we have to take one more quick break to catch up on them. We're back with the news and a very interesting last hour in the show. We're going to be reflecting on a fantastic day for St Eunan's, a fantastic couple of weeks, in fact. And we're also going to be discussing eating disorders as part of our Monday focus. Two very different topics, but that and much more besides coming up in the last hour.
Beat the cost of Brexit and no customs charges. Do you need a UK address? For your limited company or personal use, Space Hub in Derry can can provide you with your own virtual office or mailbox. Have your post and parcels delivered to Space Hub and collect at your convenience. Also, brand new 20-foot shipping containers now in stock. Ideal for all your storage needs at our Springtown and Coolmore depots. Find us on Facebook or spacehubderry.com or call 04871 878077 for details.
It's November Madness at Crawford Tiles and More Castlefin for 1 week only. There's 20% off all tiles in stock, 10% off all bathware, and 5% off carpet and vinyls. Fitters and delivery service available. That's Crawford's Mad Giveaway Sale for 1 week only. Ends Wednesday the 10th of November. Call 914392.
Zero. It gets a bad rep. Like when people say they have zero interest in something. Well, if you're thinking of buying an electric car this year, you'll find this interesting because at Nissan we see the power of zero. Introducing the Nissan Leaf Power of Zero offer. Buy a brand new 100% electric zero emissions Nissan Leaf and get 1 year's free servicing, a free home charger, the lowest electric finance offer on the market, and great savings on running costs. Now that's the power of zero. Find out more at nissan.ie.
Well, Davy, brilliant that you weren't in work today. We had some crack. It was Peter's last shift, so we all went out for lunch. Thanks for staying away. The lads are delighted. Chat to you soon. Mind yourself.
No one will thank you for turning up to work or anything else when you're sick. Stay at home and get a test to protect yourself and others from COVID-19. From the HSE, for us all.
Do you currently have vacancies that need urgently filled? Do you require temporary staff for the Christmas period? Have you tried various ways to find new staff but didn't succeed? Let Highland Radio help you source and fill your current vacancies in the most cost-effective way. Simply sign up to our new job spot and we will tell our 70,000 daily listeners about your vacancies. Every Monday, Wednesday and Friday during our primetime shows, we will broadcast the latest job opportunities across the Northwest and into counties Derry and Tyrone. For more information, contact the advertising team on 07491 25322 or email advertising@highlandradio.com. Highland Radio, we're here for you.
It is 11 o'clock. You tune to Ireland's #1 local radio station. This is Highland Radio with me, Greg Hughes, on the 9 till noon show. It is 11 o'clock, so it's time for a news update, and we welcome onto the programme now Michaela Clark. Good morning, Michaela.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Foreign Affairs Minister says the EU has bent over backwards to try and accommodate Britain on Brexit. Simon Coveney says it's not a done deal that the UK will activate Article 16 of the Northern Ireland Protocol, but there's a lot of evidence it will. The Minister says there will be a significant threat to the British-EU relationship if this happens. Well, Border Communities Against Brexit has described this latest move as an utterly reckless attack on the protocol and an attack on every person living on the island of Ireland, as well as an attack on the Good Friday Agreement. The campaign group says recent data shows that the protocol has positively improved the economy, with a 61% increase in trade between North and South. Around 400 primary school children are testing positive for COVID-19 every day, according to the Irish National Teachers Organisation. It says it's very concerned about the escalation in cases and is once again calling for contact tracing to resume in primary schools. The Health Minister says it's being considered in the run-up to Christmas, along with the use of antigen tests. There's been a slight drop in the number of people waiting on a bed at Letterkenny University Hospital, but it still remains the second most overcrowded hospital in the country. According to the INMO's Trolley Watch report, 45 admitted patients are waiting on a bed at the hospital. 9 of them are on a trolley in the emergency department. The HSE has confirmed that respite services are to return to Mount Charles and Dunloe. Rehab Group are to provide respite services at Seaview House 5 days a week, while the HSE has made a funding submission to extend the service to 7 days a week. Meanwhile, respite care is set to resume at Dunloe Community Hospital upon completion of the current refurbishment next month. And a West Donegal councillor believes cameras are needed to tackle illegal dumping in the area. In recent days, household items, including a hoover, have been dumped between Fulcara and Dunfanaghy. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed.
We all need to keep warm and cozy in winter, but burning solid fuels damages our health. So what steps can we take to improve air quality while heating our homes? Think ABC. A. Ask yourself, do I need to light a fire, or can I use cleaner heating sources instead? If you do need to light a fire, then B. Burn cleaner, more efficient, low-smoke fuels. And C. Clean and maintain chimneys and heating appliances at least once a year. Be the difference, breathe the difference. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Okay, you're welcome back. As we were talking about earlier on the programme, the British seem set to trigger Article 16. There are some concerns as to what that would mean. Some talk of the potential once again for a hard border on the island of Ireland. I think everybody wants to avoid that, don't they? And also, of course, a trade war. What could that mean? John, you're presumed concerned with all of it, but particularly I suppose, the Good Friday Agreement and what it stands for. What do you believe the triggering of Article 16 could mean for that agreement?
Well, I think if they trigger that we're going to go back to a situation that was back in the 70s and 80s. But also there's a very important thing that people seem to have forgotten about. When the Good Friday Agreement was being negotiated and signed off on, it's an international treaty set in the UN. We give up our Article 3, was it, our Constitution. We had a referendum that gave up our claim to the 6 counties. So, I mean, the whole thing's going to be up in the air. Mm-hmm. So what they're doing is they're actually fostering a climate for it to go back 20, 30, 40 years, and nobody in this country wants us. We're only a wee small island.
Yeah.
We need to sit down, and there's a group of people in the north, all right, a lot of people in the north have issues with it, and of course, their issues are, in my view, are self-centred. They don't seem to take in the whole consideration of the whole country. The country as a whole. It's only a wee small country.
But we are, it does, and I think, like, we don't even want to consider going back to the times that you talk of, but when you hear of comments being made, political comments being made, and then that triggering the burning out of a bus, and then you hear of other little things that are going on, it does seem to be that we could be on the brink of something that we certainly don't want to see, and this could be the catalyst for that, John. Well,
I mean, yes, it could be, it will be. I mean, it will be the catalyst for it, and nobody wants that. Nobody wants that. I mean, the United States will have to step in here, and the UN will have to step in here. That's an international treaty that's signed off, and it's in on the statute books in the United Nations. It's not just a piece of paper. Boris Johnson, he has his own problems in England, and we can see what's going on there when he tore up the rules to safeguard one of his own cronies. I mean, that's the kind of people, the calibre of people that we're dealing with. He has no interest in Ireland. He has no interest in what's going on in this country, and he's no interest in the DUP. And it's time that they woke up to that.
Yeah.
They're being sold down the river, all right, they are. But
well, they have already quite publicly a couple of times. There's just no doubt about that. But do you know what you're talking about and advocating for peace and advocating for the Good Friday Agreement? And I tried to make this point to Paddy Hart last week. Is that happening politically? Now, maybe I'm missing it, right? But we're talking about trade deals, and we talk in very basic terms about a border on the island of Ireland. But do you get a sense there's anyone politically fighting for it, like the figures that we had in the past that delivered the peace that we have? It doesn't seem to be as high on the political agenda, that element of it, to me, as perhaps it should be. But as I say, I'm very open to the fact, John, that I'm missing it.
Listen, the people of this country are fighting for peace. They want peace. We want peace. We want it. If the politicians that at a higher level seems to be self-interested in their own survival or their own views, they're not interested in the ordinary people that's trying to make a living, trying to get on with life, trying to educate their children, trying to find jobs for them.
But life is difficult enough, isn't it? Without...
Life is difficult without going back to that. I mean, for God's sake, I think that they need to sit down and they need to realise it's a small country, about what you could say, 350 or 360 miles long, about 160 miles wide, with a population the size of Manchester. Very, very small country. We want to get on and do our own thing and have peace.
But in relation to that, John, and in terms of that geographical and population reality that you paint, but also, of course, your comments as it relates to the Good Friday Agreement, often it feels like reference to the Good Friday Agreement is an afterthought, that really what this is about is we are the sharp edge of the wedge, for Europe. In other words, the European Union, that tiny border that we have with Britain, is the only land border with Britain and Northern Ireland, and that is really why it becomes so sensitive for reasons other than the Good Friday Agreement. If you get where I'm coming from.
I can tell you this, Greg. If you go to Yorkshire, go down to Somerset, places like that, Yeovil and all them places, they don't give a damn about a border here in Northern Ireland. They're not interested in Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland. They're not. All they want is to make sure their life is going to be good. I mean, we had a situation after the war where Germany was split in two. That border come down, and the Berlin Wall come down, and they get on with it. Why in the name of God is Boris Johnson trying to drive a wedge through the Good Friday Agreement? And I hear the commentators on about it, but I don't hear many of them mentioning the fact that the Good Friday Agreement is going to be jeopardised here. None of them seems to be picking up on that.
Okay. Thanks for your focus on it, John. I appreciate it. We'll talk again, I'm sure. John there talking about his concerns for the Good Friday Agreement if Britain goes ahead, as is seemingly likely, and triggers Article 16. More of your comments here. If an employee reports unfit to work because of a positive COVID test, can the employer now demand a second test before accepting the validity of the first test? Well, could they make an argument for it? Yes. Can they? No. But obviously when our leaders seem to do operate under a different set of rules as us, then these are the questions that are going to come up. It seems that the Irish have introduced a new phrase into the English language. COVID corruption means a person who alternates between positive and negative results depending on their political standing. I see the point you're making. I don't think it's going to catch on, though. As it relates to the roads, the crossings, I think the crossing at Curlin's at the Tintay area are more dangerous, especially at twilight. Another, we have a crossing in Manor. The markings are on the road, but there are no signs to say it's there. So how is traffic supposed to know it's there? In fairness, motorists have to be given a fair crack, don't they? A few weeks ago, a woman almost knocked down because she was trying to cross and the car just drove on. Right, now, Councillor Mandy Kelly joins us. Councillor, good morning to you. Thanks for taking the call. Donald Mandy Kelly, I beg your pardon, Donald. Thanks for joining us. Right, now, you're listening with interest. Other councillors, I'm sure, as it relates to this crossing. I mean, a lot of this conversation is happening in the chamber, in fairness. What is the situation as you see it, Donald?
Yeah, Greg, I was listening to sorry, I apologise, I can't remember his name. Sean, was it? And he's 100% correct. That pedestrian crossing there at the minute of the Donegal Leisure Centre, I mean, it's a very busy crossing, but it's an accident waiting to happen. And I have raised this before at the municipal district level, and even as recently as our last meeting last month, Councillor Jerry McMonigal raised the issue as well. And there's definitely something needs to be done there.
So what is the problem, do you think? Is it traffic coming into the town or exiting the town? I don't know what the speed limit is because I don't really use that road very often. But do they sort of, believe they're not really in a built-up area on the way in? Or as soon as they get out of the main town, they put the foot down believing they're out of the town heading out? What's the problem, do you think?
Well, Greg, I'll be completely honest with you, and I travel that road, as you know, numerous times every day. And my own personal opinion is that the pedestrian crossing it's in the wrong place,
right,
for a start. Because listen, I'm guilty myself, Greg, of leaving Letterkenny going out the road, and there's no point saying any different. And you come around that corner, and the pedestrian crossing's on top of you before you know it.
Yeah.
And there's different times I have seen where there's people standing there, and as I say, I'm guilty of it. I drive through it, and because you just don't realise it's there, Greg. For me, it's in the wrong place. I heard the opinion there of maybe traffic lights. I don't think that's going to resolve the problem, because it's only going to back traffic up on both sides, and then if traffic backs up from the Ora side and Letterkenny, I mean, that's on two very dangerous lanes.
Well, that's what I was saying, and what I was asking our earlier caller, because, as a motorist you have to make a judgment call. is it safe for me to stop in between the distance that, that I can see? Is there a car behind me? Would they be taken by surprise if I were to brake? Could they go up behind me? Like, it seems that this, where it is causing confusion for both pedestrians then and motorists.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen, Greg. I mean, you would see, I do believe you would see more actions there. But Greg, what I'm actually pushing for at the minute, and I think it's the best solution for this, is for a footpath to be taken on the opposite side of the road from the bottom of Letterkenny Main Street out as far as the Donald Park to connect in with the joining footpath on out by Cornwall. I'm talking now on the Kelly's Mill side of the road there, I think there should be a footpath taken on that side of the road out, and I think it's the best solution going forward.
Now, is that road wide enough to accommodate that, Donald, or would it mean sort of, acquiring land and extending it?
Well, I personally, myself, Greg, have engaged with some of the landowners there along that road, and anyone that I have been talking to is more than glad to give their bit of land to implement the footpath along that side of the road. And I think that's something going forward that the council, they need to be engaging with the people along that stretch of road that owns them gardens, etc. there, because from the talks I have had with the residents there, they're more than willing to work with the council to extend the footpath on that side of the road.
And the conversation hasn't really come up today, but the last couple of times we've talked about this stretch, it was people, wheelchair users or those with buggies, saying that the current footpath is very narrow, that articulated lorries, bigger vehicles, even cars seem to be very, very close, that they feel that that's very dangerous. So it's not just crossing it. A lot of people feel it's unsafe literally walking up and down it at the moment. And you talked about an accident, and with an accident, there's a few factors that we can determine what causes things. There's the driver behaviour, there's the condition of the car, but there's also the condition of the road. And, with all of these warnings, if something happens, this is an accident, because if the road is contributing to the danger, well, then it's not an accident. It's down to the environment. And I know I'm nitpicking, Donald, but, we can't be having this conversation after someone is tragically killed or seriously injured in this road. We have to be out in front of this now, I think.
You're 100% correct, Greg. It's too late when something serious happens. I mean, there's different issues that I've raised the problems, regarding something similar to this, but I think this is something, it's probably one of the main arteries coming to and from Letterkenny, a very busy road, and there's no reason why, especially when the residents are willing to give up their bits of land there, that I have been engaging with, there's no reason that road can't be widened, that them two corners should be taken away completely at our leisure centre, leaving the road completely open for both pedestrians and people driving their vehicles.
And do you think this needs to be decoupled from any long-term plans? Do you know what I mean? Do you think this is so important that this needs to be focused on in a short to medium term, rather than talking about, well, we're going to be doing this before 2040 and that before 2040 and this will happen and that will happen? I mean, it sounds to me like this is not something we can really wait on, that this is something that needs to be prioritised, Donald.
Very good. So this is something that needs to be prioritised as a matter of urgency. And we have our MD meeting again tomorrow, and we're planning again to raise this issue. I think the council and our executives need to be looking at this as soon as possible and getting some kind of solution. And I think the best solution going forward is to put a footpath on the opposite side of the road and connect it out to the footpath heading for Cornwall Graveyard. And
I think what you mentioned, Councillor Jerry McMonagle, and others raising this issue deserve, if it hasn't come already, and I apologise if it has, and I'll tell you what the public also need is an explanation from the council as to why we have the layout that we currently have and why we can't rather quickly progress safety measures. Rather than you guys having to go in there every month and bang the same drum, the council need to explain to you, and I suppose then by default to us, precisely what this, why this layout was introduced, and why we can't go for something more safer. And then maybe if we have those answers, we can move forward to try and come up with better solutions.
Yeah, definitely, Greg. That's 100% correct, and I will be asking for answers on this here tomorrow at our municipalistic meeting, and when the answers I do receive, Greg, I will put it out to the public and let the public know, because it needs to be resolved as a matter of urgency.
Donald, thanks for that. I appreciate it. Councillor Donald Mandy Kelly, not the only one raising that issue, but the councillors are in there, in fairness to them, because it could be, if out there you might think, well, sure, no one cares. Well, they are in there. I've interviewed many councillors, Mandy and Jerry Mcglynn, others as well on this issue. I don't think there's certainly no plot. This is not about politics. There's no split there. I think they're all in agreement. Hi, Greg. At this time of year, drivers have no chance with people walking roads without reflective clothes. The road into Milford is especially dangerous. Not fair on drivers. Thanks. Yeah, indeed. I know the stretch. I know the stretch you're talking about there. Hi, Greg. I agree with you. Read the speeding outside Lurgy School, and I'm not making excuses for it, but I think the problem is it's a climbing lane, and if you're stuck behind a slow vehicle and don't get past it, there you will have very little opportunity further up the road. I agree with you, okay? And I also believe that the sign for, if we're used to driving that road and other roads, but I think you can come onto that sign quite late. In other words, you could be overtaking a slower vehicle going up that hill, and then you come on the light and you're kind of stuck there, aren't you? You either hit the brakes and go in behind that heavy vehicle, or you plough on and even find yourself accelerating more to try and get ahead of that vehicle, and then once you hit the 60, slow back down again. It's complicated. Decisions have to be made in the spur of the moment. Trying to cross at the new courthouse in Letterkenny, you'll be waiting. It's not safe at all, says another. And it's not just about Letterkenny, by the way. If you have concerns in your area, majority of people listening from outside Letterkenny. So like that other caller in the Milford area, if you've got concerns similar to this, keep them coming into us as well. Right, we are going to be talking about a cracking weekend, a cracking fortnight, in fact, for St Eunan's after we take this break.
Winter is coming. Get your tyres winter ready. Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
Buy a ticket in Highland Radio's mega draw to win a car. Get your ticket by November 30th and automatically enter an extra draw before the big draw. One lucky winner will walk away with €2,000. Imagine, that's Christmas all wrapped up. Christmas sorted. The draw will take place on Wednesday, December 1st on the 9 till noon show. 9 till noon. And you're still in with a chance to win the Kia X-Ceed worth over €28,000. 28 grand.
It's that simple to win that car.
To get your ticket, log on to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio, exceeding your expectations.
Ooh.
Bank of Ireland is looking out for your financial well-being. They want to help protect you from fraud. So whether it's Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or even just plain old Tuesday, be careful online. Don't assume that every text message or email you get claiming to be from a bank, a delivery service, or any company is legit. And remember, Bank of Ireland will never send you a text message or an email with a link asking for your full 365 PIN number or one-time passcodes, so don't give them out. Search Bank of Ireland Security, and together this Christmas we won't let the fraudsters win.
Begin. Bank of Ireland is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Homeland Fuel offers, keeping you warm for less. 40 kg premium doubles or easy flame coal, $16.99. Buy 10, get 1 free. 1 kg fire logs, 4 for €5. 12-pack wood briquettes, buy 2 for €10. Shop in store or online at homeland.ie.
It's time. Time to wander through a land of natural wonder where breathtaking views are all around. Time to fill those lungs with fresh air on an unforgettable cycle trail. Oh, that's gorgeous. Time to bag a bargain or 5 on an epic afternoon shopping spree. It's time to embrace a giant adventure and visit Mourne this autumn. Start planning for your next giant adventure at visitmournemountains.co.uk. Travel advice and guidelines apply. Visit nidirect.gov.uk. Check ahead with providers.
At Letterkenny Shopping Centre, we're already dreaming about the festive season, so why not make a start? Park for free and enjoy your Christmas shopping this year. Letterkenny Shopping Centre, bringing you the time at
The time's 22 minutes past 11. You're welcome back to the 9 till noon show. Right, let's reflect on a big weekend of sport for St Eunan's. Brendan Devaney, the presenter of the DL Debate. The DL Debate's been out now, done and dusted. Monday.
In the can.
It's in the can.
As I'm getting with the radio lingo now, Greg.
Yeah, well, I didn't even. Well, I don't have the lingo, but anyway, come here. Let's talk. We'll talk more broadly about what's been a fantastic season for St Eunan's GAA club as a whole. But to the game yesterday. It wasn't a fantastic spectacle early on. Were St Eunan spoiling a little bit, trying to restrict Niamh Conaill, and obviously then the goal was a game changer. You know, am I reading it right, Brendan? Help me out here.
It's a deep question, that, Greg. I've been on the case about it many times. It's where club football is in Donegal. Listen, it comes way back to 2005 when it started with Niamh Conaill. That tactic still is the one that they use. And if you're playing against it, either you need to be brilliant and completely open them up, or you have to play a bit like it. What happened in 2012 when Donegal won All Ireland, all those county players went back to their clubs and said, this is the way they play, this is the modern way. And unfortunately, we're stuck in a bit of a rut now. Outside of what this young Unions team won in this game, if they're champions now, and I think this is the big thing, Greg, they have to now take the game and open up the game in Donegal, because that first half is absolutely dire football. You know, see when they got out on TV, I was doing a bit with RT yesterday. I felt a wee bit embarrassed about what was being played there, right? Now, I'm not blaming anybody for this because I don't want to do that now, but I think with the future now, it's up to St Eunan's as champions of Donegal. But not necessarily this season, because they're going into Ulster and you have to protect yourself. But next season, to start to open up and show the skills of the game, because they're a phenomenal team. And I think they needed to win this championship. And I can forgive Niamh Conaill for doing that in 2005 because they hadn't won a championship. But once you become champions, Greg, you have to play. And I was very disappointed in the last couple of seasons, you know, with Niamh Conaill won it and even when Ghadir won it, the following season, just straight back into that rigid defence.
I mean, there were. I mean, obviously, you know, there's bursts of speed and you know, series of attacking play and what have you. But, I mean, there were times it was literally pedestrian, that there wasn't any running, that it was almost like a game of chess. And I like tactics. You know, I love boxing, for example. And I don't mind, you know, if people are defensive and what have you. But there has to be a better way of getting to where you want to be. And we'll move on to the positives, by the way, but it would be remiss of us not to discuss what they're probably going to be talking nationally about.
Yeah, listen, man, that's the truth, and we got to highlight it, but I think there's an opportunity for this young Unions team to change it now and maybe set standards and that. Listen, you're right, Greg. Listen, I have a bit of a lockdown belly. I've had my hip done since I started playing football. I could have played in a lot of periods of that game yesterday. It was so slow, you know, and that's not the way the GA is. What you got to get is a mix of defence and attack. What's happened in Donegal football has become so rigidly defensive and so negative that packing defences, which isn't really sport for me, you know, if you have 3 or 4 players around one player, that's not tackling to me, that's crowding. So, you know, used to be a thing years ago, you're 1-on-1, and that cornerback had to have a skill, or that halfback had to have a skill to tackle. So I think what you got to do is get the balance. We've gone way too far into defence.
And because the game's not open and because it's not being played at a high pace, it's very quick. Defenders can very quickly get on a player, and you see an awful lot of that crowding that you're talking about there. Then it's passed back a little bit, then it's knocked across the pitch a little bit until such time as he manages to find a little space to receive the ball, and then the same thing happens over and over again.
Yeah. And listen, like, what I'm saying, I don't want to be hypocritical. Unions is my team. I'm so proud of what they did yesterday. If you haven't won a championship, and don't forget some of these lads hadn't played in the county final, a lot of them hadn't, you know, since 2014 was the last title. I can understand teams that haven't won in a while playing a certain way, and I'm not even, obviously Niamh Conaill play like that anyway, and so does everybody else. But I'm saying once you become champions, you got to start to open up and play, and I think that's the thing that Niamh Conaill didn't do. And as I say, even Ghadir, when they won Ulster the following year, straight back in that rigid defence. I was thinking, right, use of both unbelievably talented teams. It's about time you just went at teams and opened them up.
Let me ask you about that then, because I just wonder, and maybe did we see it yesterday, that it's grand if it works, but if you find yourself 4 or 5 points behind or the game going against you, it's very hard to invoke a plan B, because you're so conditioned to grind out a low-scoring win. You know, where are you going to find those scores from? So, in other words, do you beat that type of play by being open and quick and expansive and getting those points on the scores and forcing your opposition into a plan B that they might not have.
Yeah, again, that comes back to how good you are as a team. We used to do that when I played with Unions back in the day. We didn't fall into that type of defensive structure. We had a lot of good players then. We had won a few championships, and it was different for us. We were able to open up that blanket defence a lot of the time. But what's happened is, as teams have come through, everyone has fallen in to that way of playing. And if you can't open them up, that's what's always said. If you give the likes of Niamh Connell a lead, you're in trouble then, because they just sit and counter-attack. So the opposition is so afraid of that happening that they sit and counter-attack, and then you're left with a very bland game. But, hoping it can change. The county teams have changed, Greg, because they're still packing their defence, but they've really upped their game in terms of scoring.
But if you're also looking to, and someone's pointed out here, if you're looking really to a success story, what is it, 2 out of 5 victories for Niamh Connell playing that way? It's not a fantastic return then.
Yeah, it could be 1 out of 5 if Kilcar come through with this objection.
Don't bring that up. We haven't got time for that one.
It hasn't gone away yet.
That's in history. No, that's consigned to history. Leave that alone.
It's not.
No, I know.
But listen, anyway, Greg, what I think with Niamh Connell, when they lost the first 2 finals, I thought they were going to change as a team. I thought, is this finally going to stop? They actually come back and just got better at what they did. And in fairness to them, they were brilliant in the quarter and the semi. And whether you like the tactics or you don't, what they did was brilliant. That's why we didn't see this coming yesterday from them. Now, Union's played well, and fair play to them, hats off. I'm sure the inquest is going on in Gladys and Fintown today as to what happened to their team. Union's came and played their part and did it brilliantly. But Niamh Connell, who were going in as very hot favourites, didn't play anything like the team we had seen in the previous games.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you more on that, though, and let's focus on the positive here now. John Harron is chairman of St Eunan's GEA club. What a couple of weeks it's been between the hurlers and the footballers, the women's team as well. What is it, early 70s, John, since St Eunan's were able to do the hurling football double with the senior men's. I mean, that's how historic the achievement of the last couple of weeks has been.
That's right, Greg. It's absolutely brilliant. That's 49 years ago, 1972, since we last did the double. And I suppose the 1972 hurling team, I think, was mostly made up of maybe guards and customs men and bankers and people from down the country. I think there was very few Letterkenny natives on that team. But this time around with our hurlers, it was backboned by our own young players that have come through the hurling academy this last 20 years, and all the brilliant work that was put in by all the great hurling people there through the years. So the hurlers won last week, Greg, was a massive lift to the club, because although the senior footballers were outsiders yesterday, I think the hurlers last week were totally outsiders against Atlanta, and no one gave them a hope. And once they showed that grit and determination and unbelievable heart and commitment, that it just gave everyone in the club a lift. And fair play to the hurlers, it was just brilliant. And our lady footballers won the intermediate championship a couple of weeks before that too. So, in the cycle of a club, Greg, you can go from zero to hero very quickly, and I think that's what's happened St Eunan's this last couple of weeks. We've just gone from having won nothing for a few years to everything coming at the one time, which is absolutely brilliant. But that doesn't happen, Greg, overnight. And I just like to commend all their underage coaches and volunteers and at ladies and hurling and at the underage academy on a Sunday morning in O'Donnell Park. It's just brilliant. And it's a great reward for all them volunteers, Greg, because that's what the GA is about. And our senior team yesterday in Balbethay in front of a big crowd and live on TV, that's the Blue Ribbon event, that's the pinnacle. But to get them young players there for that day, the amount of work that goes on behind the scenes from under 4s and under 5s, the whole way up to they make it to a senior player for St Eunan's is absolutely brilliant. And all the people that played a part in that, their journey for them young lads yesterday, they can take immense satisfaction from seeing them players graduate to a senior team and to win a county championship in the style that they did yesterday. It was just brilliant for everyone, Greg. It's given the town a massive lift, and it's given St Eunan's a massive lift, and we're on a high at the minute.
Mm-hmm. John, I think you played with Brendan. He thinks he could have played much of that game yesterday. Yesterday. I'm not thoroughly convinced, but you've seen him in action when he was fully fit.
Devaney could play, there's no doubt about it.
But could he have played in yesterday's game? That's the question.
Of 14 points in a county final in 1999, so Brendan was one of our best, and
Well, John, you still have the most iconic moment of that final when you scored the goal to go off your top and swung it over your head. And then he couldn't get the jersey back on. It got stuck in his gloves. He was streaking round the Donald Park for a while, or from McGill Park.
Brilliant days.
John, success breeds success, doesn't it? You know, you talked about the great hurling achievement, you know, and you know, in the women's game, at different levels in the men's game, and how, you know, that's been fed into. It's exciting times for your club, and the future too looks exciting as well. It's about building on this, isn't it?
It does, Greg. No, it does. You know, and when you win something big like yesterday and the hurlers the week before, it gives everyone a lift and gives, you know, like, because the season we had under 9 training out in the AstroTurf pitch, so it's easy to go tonight because we've won, and I'm the manager along with Brendan's brother-in-law Eugene Sullivan and a few other lads helping us there, you know, and it would have been very hard to go out there tonight in the wind and rain if we had got beat, you know, but the show must go on, so win or lose, we had training tonight, and Kieran McAwain and Damien Daly are training under 7s and under 8s tomorrow night, so the show goes on, but when you get that success, it makes it so much easier, and it gives all them young players something to look up to. You know, it's not that long ago when young Conor O'Donnell Jr. was our mascot in 2007 when his father Kieran was our trainer, and like there he is all of a sudden in the blink of an eye, Greg, to me, there he's on the pitch as a St Eunan senior player yesterday, you know what I mean, picking up his medal and playing well when he came on. So, you know, the whole thing goes just in a blink of an eye, you know, it passes. But for them young players now in our underage academy and under 9s and 10s and whatever, they've got heroes now that look up to the Niall O'Donnells and the Keelan Wards and the Sean Pattons and whoever else, them brilliant players. So, no, it's brilliant, Greg. And, you know, as I say, as a club, Greg, it's our responsibility to promote Gaelic games, hurling, football, ladies football in the town, and it's the big town, and we have a lot of competition with other sports. So it's our job, and the committee and the older people involved in the club, is to keep promoting the club, keep providing the brilliant facilities we have out in O'Donnell Park, keep training our coaches that when the children come, that they're getting the best experience and they want to come back and they want to play for St Eunan's, and hopefully they want to play for Donegal, and it keeps them off the streets, and it's great for them to build friendships and to, you know, a bit of resilience and winning in games and losing games, and, you know, the life lessons that have to be learned through sport, Greg, is brilliant, and that's what we're about, and that's what we want to keep providing for the young people of Letterkenny, you know. So we have a responsibility too, but it's great when you get over the line and you get the big prize, and it just makes it all worthwhile, Greg, and the sacrifices that all the players put in and all the committee. Like, I don't want to single out people, like, but, you know, we've lost some great people since we last won the championship. Paddy McIntyre, Noel McDermott, Raymond Blake, Joe Dodo Winston, you know, Michael McGrath from the hurling team, men that give, you know, their lives for St Eunan's and did it, whatever was asked, both on and off the field. You know, we have great volunteers there like Ollie Harvey and Damien McCauley and Cathal Harvey, who put up all the flags around the town. You know, Ewan O'Donnell and Paddy Flood there with hers. I could go on.
Yeah, I know. It just goes to show how many people are involved, either in training, on the pitch, behind the scenes, to actually make something like this a success.
And all volunteers, Greg, as you know. So it's brilliant. Yeah. It's great for the community. It's great that people that'll give up of their time and give up of their expertise to train young players and just do it for the love of their club and to give something back, you know. So it's great.
Yeah. All right. Brendan, that game in... Sorry to focus on the past. We'll talk about the future in a second, Brendan. That game in 99, how many points did you score? 14, was it?
14, yeah.
14, and who's man of the match?
John tried to take it with his goal there, but yeah.
John, who couldn't get his shirt back on, you say, man of the match, yeah? Well done, John.
It wasn't me, that's for sure. It was Devaney, unbelievable. It was brilliant.
7 in the first half, Greg, 7 in the second half, 7 from free, 7 from play. It was all 7s on the day, you know.
Yeah, brilliant stuff. So, what next, Brendan? It's obviously on to the pardon my ignorance on this, the Ulster Club Championship is on, isn't it? It is.
Yeah, Glenn Mara won it yesterday. Yeah, first time. So that's the encounter now. It's at home as well. We're at home in that competition. So listen, Donegal teams have done great in Ulster the last few years. They've really flayed the flag, Greg. And you're just chatting about tactics. The defensive tactics probably helps teams going into Ulster in terms of keeping them in the game and stabilising, something that Donegal teams didn't do for a long time. That's the only small plus side I could say to the defensive thing, that it does help teams going into Ulster. So I don't expect Unity to change tactics this year, and it's St John's just on the line here. But I think now with this side, you know, I think club football has to start to change a bit fit in Donegal because we've got the mix wrong between defence and attack.
And John, listen, come here. We're not. You couldn't take away from what's an amazing day yesterday, an amazing couple of weeks. But do you take on board what Brendan's saying about maybe it's up to this young Eunan's team, if not in Ulster and beyond, hopefully, but maybe next year in their defence that we maybe see a return to a more open style of play.
Absolutely, me and Brendan would be singing off the same hymn sheet there, but it's easy for me and Brendan to do it. It's Rory and David and the boys that put in all the work behind the scenes, and they're setting up their team to win a championship.
Yeah, it's a results-based industry, isn't it?
That's the unfortunate thing. They're setting up their team to win a championship, not to please me and you and Brendan, which is unfortunate. But I know where Brendan's coming from, and me and Brendan have discussed this many a time. But I would be the same opinion of Brendan. That I think club football in Donegal has to be more entertaining. Teams have to come out and play more, attack more, and get away from the negative of everyone behind the ball, because it doesn't make for a good spectacle. And when people are watching it live on TV, I got plenty of comments on Twitter last night. People giving out about the game and turning it off, and the hurling was on before and it was far better, and all these kind of comments. You don't like to see that there, but it's part and parcel of Greg. And as you say, it's a results business. But I think there's definitely that there is room there for to play a better brand of football and the years to come, and give the spectators something, something that they can come and watch. And
next season starts with a lot of titled defences, which is a great position to be in. Congratulations, John, to you at the head of it all, and everyone in the club. As you mentioned, it takes everyone to bring so much success. John, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Greg.
Take care of yourself. Right, Brendan, the podcast went out live yesterday. The DL debate, though, for those who like it on the Monday, still up there. Who's on it?
Yes, we had Gary McDade from Glen Swilly giving us some analysis after the game. John Gilday kindly stayed back. I was wondering, him and Brendan Kilcoyne were there. Brendan was helping with Oisin, of course, and the commentary. So we had interviews from quite a few of the Union's players. It was interesting, actually, that young Tobin came up along with McVeigh. McVeigh had won the hurling last week, Tobin's first year in. So it was lovely to interview them after. And Tom did a few interviews with Rory and with Keelan Ward and players like that. So that'll be all on the podcast.
Yeah, it's nice when it's all successful, and it's close to home as well. Quick word on your DV Bowl. It's sold out now, isn't it? It's on Friday.
Yes.
You and the young fella, very smartly dressed in a few social media posts, I have to say.
Yeah, thanks to Evolve. Yeah, no problem, Greg. Yeah, listen, funny, you got a lot of attention at me video.
But that's because it was a talent on show, and I'm not talking about you either.
No, exactly. I know what I'm saying.
You were again, just like in 1999, you were stood up.
Yeah. Matthew stole the show. I have no problem with that. But that was interesting because I didn't even get it. I just stuck it up, and it's got about 20,000 views between social media. So listen, fair play to Matthew. I might get him to host it on the night. I'll just sit there and watch. What do you think?
Listen, I don't know. He'll have a role to play anyway, I'm sure.
Well, listen, the Dr. Maguire's going to wait. The Tyrone management, Fergal Logan and Brian Deers, coming, some of the Tyrone players and ex-players, so they're going to bring the Sam. So it's great. Now we'll have the Dr. Maguire. I'm talking to Paddy Flood and the hurlers. So listen, the reserves, the ladies, if any of them are there, if they want a centrepiece, it'd be nice to have their cup at their table, Greg, and that'd be a nice part of the night.
See you then, Brendan. If not before, take care of yourself.
All the best, Greg. Cheers.
Very much indeed. That's Brendan Devaney there, presenter of the DL debate. It's available for you on our website now. John Harron there as well, chair of the St Eunan GA Club. What an interview to be able to give. Chair of the club that's won 4 titles in 2 weeks. The senior A's and the B's yesterday as well. A really impressive double as well. The hurlers and some players playing in both of those as well, of course. And then the ladies also. It's 2021 is St Eunan's year to a great extent, isn't it?
Are your tyres ready for winter? Call into Ulster Tyres in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet today.
For all your health and beauty needs, you can always rely on McGee's Chemist in Letterkenny. If you need a prescription, just call or order online at mcgees.ie and it will be ready for you in advance before you arrive. For beauty and skin care, there's all the big names at great prices in store and online. And for your photo printing needs, simply download the McGee's Photo Prints app or click on the website link. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For all your health and beauty needs and so much more. Call 91 21409 or visit visit mcgees.ie.
Ireland is leaving diesel behind, and Kelly's Toyota is leading the way with our incredible range of self-charging hybrid electric cars. We've amazing offers, including contributions and trade-in boosters. And with 46 years of experience here in Donegal, you can trust us to help you on your electric journey. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota, Ireland's best-selling car brand. Visit Kelly's Toyota Mount Charles or Letterkenny today. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're experiencing an unplanned pregnancy, there is someone you can talk to. My Options is a HSC service that offers confidential counselling and information. We're here to listen and guide you through all your options, including support to continue a pregnancy, as well as information on abortion services. We can also support you if a planned pregnancy becomes a crisis over time. Talk to a counsellor online at myoptions.ie or free phone 1800 828 010. From the HSE.
Is the appearance of your staff important to your business? It's the first point of contact for customers when entering your premises. At C&M Embroidery in Letterkenny, they have a huge range of clothing covering all areas of the workplace. It's widely known that customers warm to and trust employees that present themselves well. Have your company name embroidered or printed on all your work uniforms. Contact C&M Embroidery on 07491 28097 and get your staff looking their best.
At AIB, we don't make technology for you to bank. We make it for you to live.
Just watch.
So you can apply and get a loan through your AIB app or online.
Knocking this out like it ain't no thing.
All from the comfort of home. Banking to fit the way you live. AIB. We back doing. Lender criteria, terms and conditions apply. Over 18s only, subject to approval. Security may be required. Allied Irish Banks PLC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The National Inpatient Experience Survey is now underway. If you stayed a night or more in a public hospital during September this year, you will have received a letter by post asking you to participate in the survey. Sharing your experience with us will help us to improve the care our hospitals provide. For more information, visit yourexperience.ie. From the HSC, the Health Information and Quality Authority and the Department of Health.
Ireland is leaving diesel behind, and Toyota is leading the way. Start your electric journey with our incredible range of self-charging hybrids. Leave diesel behind with our diesel trade-in booster, or choose a contribution, both up to €2,500. Supply is limited, so don't miss out. Order now. You'll never take a wrong turn with Toyota, Ireland's best-selling car brand. Toyota, built for a better world. Terms and conditions apply. Best-selling car brand this year based on most recently published figures.
It's November Madness at Crawford Tiles and More Castlefin for 1 week only. There's 20% off all tiles in stock, 10% off all bathware, and 5% off carpet and vinyls. Fitters and delivery service available. That's Crawford's Mad Giveaway Sale for 1 week only. Ends Wednesday the 10th of November. Call 9143942.
Enjoy after-work drinks, a catch-up with friends, or a romantic date night in the truly unique surroundings of House Wine Bar and Taproom on Lorraine Street, Letterkenny, one of Donegal's finest dedicated wine and cocktail bars. Stone-baked pizza and sharing boards are just some of the tasty bites on our new menu. Whether it's a big celebration or a casual get-together, make our house your place to celebrate this winter. Visit House Wine Bar and Taproom on Facebook for more. Group bookings welcome.
Highland Radio weather updates with National Fuels, delivering home heating oil to Letterkenny and the surrounding areas at competitive prices. National Fuels, 9137 400.
Okay, so patches of rain and drizzle will be mixed with some drier intervals this afternoon and remaining cloudy. Temperatures 13 and 14 degrees, fresh winds. Now, we're joined on the programme as part of our Monday Focus by our next guest. It is Dr. Lisa Murphy, and thank you very much, Lisa, for joining us, and good morning to you. Can you hear me okay, Lisa?
Hi, sorry, no I couldn't hear you there for a minute. You're on there now.
That's okay. Right, now, tell us, as much as you're comfortable in doing so, Lisa, your story. People will be aware of it because, of course, there was a fundraiser that had to be set up for you, and it shouldn't have had to have been set up to get help for you. Can you give us, as I say, only as much as you're comfortable with, giving us the background to that, Lisa?
Look, I suppose, it's been going on for so long now. It's been like 12 years, really, maybe a bit longer. And it's just progressed to a point that, I fear if I don't receive kind of very intensive intervention that, things won't end well. So my family and friends obviously were quite concerned, and, we'd been talking about a GoFundMe for a while, but I just didn't have the courage to do it. I thought it would be, a lot of exposure, and you never know really how it's going to go. You don't know how people are going to react. But thankfully the response has been amazing. And, I have a great group of people around me to kind of help me through it.
And you needed those because you weren't getting the help from the public health system, were you? The point, and to the point that this fundraiser had happened to try and get you help privately. How was your experience engaging with the public health system?
I suppose, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because I've met some amazing people in that system that are working in that system, that have admitted to me, we wish we could do more, but the resources just aren't there, and they're really passionate, dedicated people, and they want to help. I've had some, pretty, I suppose upsetting experiences as well, given, like I remember one time, because I have a background in psychology, that's what my degree is in. I remember one consultant, she was saying, the waiting list is so long. Can you try give yourself therapy, given that you have a background in psychology, while you're on the waiting list? And, just things like that just kind of were, I was a bit shocked, to be honest.
It kind of feels like that's in the same space as pull yourself together.
Yeah, I remember one time I went to A&E for fear that I was about to self-harm, and a friend, came up with me, and when I was being triaged, and I understand, the nurses and stuff in there, they're under an awful lot of pressure, and they don't have a lot of resources, and they're kind of just trying to get people through as quickly as possible. But there doesn't really seem to be any kind of crisis management or sensitivity training. So I remember one time again, they asked me what my background was in, or, did I go to college and whatever. And I was doing psychology at the time. And I said, yeah, I'm doing a PhD in psychology. And the nurse kind of said, psychology? Like, what are you doing here then? Like, why are you,
if there's some sort of immunity might come with studying it. I mean, I read a quote from you, and I hope it's accurate. I've attempted suicide several times, and I suppose this year has been the first year that I really thought, if I don't actually die by my own hands, then this illness will physically end it. I mean, that is... it'd be hard to feel any lower than at that point with that realization, Lisa.
Yeah, it was. It was very much a realization. I got away with an awful lot for so long, even though I was, putting my body through an awful lot of abuse. Because I was just so young, and I suppose like our bodies are tough. Like they're made to withstand an awful lot of pressure. But this year, there were just so many times where I just physically wasn't able to do things. I started feeling pain in areas that it just felt very different. And there was a point at which I was with a few friends, and I just totally stopped functioning. I couldn't get up, I couldn't move, I couldn't speak. And that wasn't a mental thing, it was very physical. I felt my body was just shutting down completely. And I suppose, with the amount of dangerous things that I put it through, I just don't think it can withstand much more, really, is the truth of it.
Yeah. And are you hopeful of the future now, though? This GoFundMe was successful. It's not like, I presume, Lisa, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's not like, yay, everything's fantastic now. I mean, you still have a way to go. Everything hasn't sort of changed overnight. It'd be easy maybe for us not affected directly by it to feel that's the case. But do you see a pathway now, Lisa?
I do. It's hard because, the level of support and kindness and everything over the past week when the GoFundMe was, kind of taking off was amazing. And, of course, I felt really uplifted, and it was incredible. At the same time, I was still
Things are very deeply rooted, and a series of events is not going to elevate things on a long-term basis.
And I think people might think that's great now. Sure, the 12 weeks in there and she'll be sorted, and that's like recovery is a long road. And I think the people in the treatment centre that I'll be going into have said on average, like, you're really looking at about at least 2.5 years of a really tough slog. And I'd be lying if I said I wasn't absolutely terrified, like genuinely. And I've doubts. I'm kind of going, can I do that? There's all that going on as well. I suppose at the same time, I'm just trying to hang on to the level of support that I've received to kind of just pull me through that.
Yeah, and you have that, and that's a positive. Obviously, yours is your situation. A lot of people with eating disorders, even locally here at Sligo University Hospital, I think they've seen a doubling in the amount of people presenting there, and that's a lot's been exacerbated by lockdown for various reasons, and we've talked about it in the past. It's quite complex as to why it can trigger and stuff, and we can't really get into that now. But we are useless in this country at helping people with this problem.
Yeah, I think the thing with eating disorders is, and I actually think on another radio station, the consultant physician, I think from Sligo Hospital, was on talking about eating disorders after I had spoke about it. The thing with them is that 99% of the time community care is the answer. It's only really the extreme cases that would go into a residential centre. And being different from, sometimes people with very severe anorexia would have to be admitted to be force-fed and things. But in terms of intervention and treatment, very few eating disorder cases actually go in anywhere. But the problem is that the community resources are not there. So even though it's well known in, medical fields that most eating disorders can be treated effectively in the community, where people stay in their homes, they stay with their friends and family, and they get kind of very intense support while going about their daily lives. But that's the problem in Ireland, is that support isn't there in the community.
But Lisa, again, this is another classic example, particularly with health, whereas we can spend less money early on and help people in their homes or their communities, rather than either not helping people or spending much more for much longer period of time later down the road. It's not something that should require 5 weeks of Lifeline and Stephen Donnelly having to this is basic stuff. This is stuff that if we spend the money in the right places now, we've better outcomes for people and less expense with the state for the state.
Absolutely. And it really doesn't make sense. And even if you look over the past 5 years, the money that was allocated to eating disorders particularly, was a lot of it was unspent and diverted to other services. And I really can't understand why, especially like other countries are getting it right, and I don't understand why we can't model that here to prevent, number one, them getting as severe as mine or other cases, and to prevent people having to crowdfund, and to prevent people from having to go in anywhere at all. Because, inpatient, for me, I feel it's the only option left, but it's also very difficult in that you also have to transition back out. There are risks with inpatient as well that, so
it's a last resort, but we're pushing people towards it, and that last resort really is not there.
Yeah,
that's how. That's
exactly.
Yeah. Lisa, listen. You've outlined yourself. I know it's often used that word journey, but it's hard to find another word.
It is.
Our best wishes and good wishes are with you when you need them or when you don't need them, and we wish you absolutely everything that you want. And
thank you.
Well done to you for. I hope this doesn't sound patronising. Getting this on the agenda again, having this conversation again, and it's awful that you're having to sort of bear your experience to do it, but it's really positive, and it's positive what you're doing for other people as well, hopefully.
Thank you.
We are very grateful for you coming on and sharing with us as much as you have.
Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
The best of luck with everything. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, that is Dr. Lisa Murphy there, who is still in a tough place and has a long road ahead, of course, but we wish her every success, and we just need to get ahead of that and get a handle on it, don't we? Listen, thank you very much